It's time for an inside look at the most powerful motorsport on the planet. WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
It's the most exciting sport on earth as far as I'm concerned.
Take a walk through the Nitro pits as we go one-on-one with the stars of drag racing.
Hey, you're with Matt Hagan. This is Ron Capps, Matt Hagan's personal friend. You're on WFO.
Featuring the NHRA's Alan Reinhart.
Our events are truly an experience. They're not just a spectator event. They are an experience.
So get in, sit down, and hold on with host Joe Castello as he goes WFO.
Thanks, brother. Always love being on WFO, baby. Nobody brings it to you better than you, brother.
Now crank it up. It's time to go WFO. Here's your host, Joe Castello.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro. I'm Joe Castello, and I'm your podcast host. We have got the winners from the Thunder Valley Nationals. You're going to hear from Mike Salinas. You're going to hear from Bob Tasca. You're going to hear from Alan Reinhart on this show. And probably most importantly of all, you're also going to hear from Mark Caruso, who had a hard hit in the E3 Sparkplugs Pro Modified Series, went into the trap, went into the net. We reached out to Mark. Mark is going to be on the show. During my time, you're going to hear from Mark on this show, and he's going to update all of us, and I appreciate him for coming on the program. We've got great guests, though, great stories. The positive side of the weekend was it was a fun event, and we had a great time. But just like that, on to Norwalk this week, the final of 4 in a row, always tough. It's always a grind towards the end, and we're ready to grind it out in Norwalk. The good news is, at the end of the tunnel, right, awaits Bill Bader's fantastic Summit Motorsports Park. We'll talk about it in my time, my thoughts on the weekend. The schedule is going to be a little bit different, and we will discuss throughout the show. I want to thank our big sponsors, the people who make this show possible, and we've been doing this for 10 years. If you're new to WFO Radio Podcast, you've never heard a podcast, maybe you heard me on the loudspeaker at the race this weekend, promoting all the podcasts, something that I have taken upon to myself, and it's selfish, honestly. I think if you are a fan of J.R. Todd and Sean Langdon and you're looking for their podcast and you find mine by accident, that helps me. If you're a fan of Brian Loans and you find his podcast and then eventually you say, wow, podcasts are cool, I'll find another one, and you find WFO, that's good for everybody. And I'm hoping that's what's happening across the board. But bottom line is, so many people have not even tried listening to a podcast yet. They don't get it. They're not tech savvy. They don't realize they're like 2 buttons away on their mobile device. They're afraid of technology. There's just countless reasons, which means there's a lot of growing yet to do. And I think that you guys, the WFO Radio listeners, the veterans, can help out the newbies, social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all the different ways to help people out. But just let's get all these new people up to speed on the podcast, baby. All of them, whoever they may be. And I think we'll all be better off in the long run, right? That's what my angle is, at very least. And in the end, I think that they'll come to WFO Radio, who's been going for 10 years, and we put out a show every single week with great guests like Mike Salinas, Bob Tasca, thanks to great sponsors like these, MagicDryUS.com, Magic Dry, Scott Palmer, CatSpotLitter.com. Look, if you've got a cat, get CatSpot. If you've got a shop, a factory, if you work on an oil rig, if you have a racing series like the National Hot Rod Association, MagicDryUS.com can help you with those large spills. They've got these things called spill kits. So you and only you know what you might need. So go to the website, MagicDryUS.com. Check it out. Very, very cool. All organic, made of coconuts. Great product. Magic Dry US. If you got a cat, get CatSpot. If you've got a factory or shop, something bigger, MagicDryUS.com is for you. Also, Samtech.edu. Start your education with full speed. The School of Automotive Machinists and Technology can accelerate your career. You can learn CNC machining, EFI tuning, and of course, classic machine shop stuff like blockhead and CNC programs. Go to samtech.edu today, and if you haven't already subscribed to Factory Stock Podcast, sponsored by samtech.edu, you're missing out. There is a show that is up. It is the Norwalk preview. It is great stuff. We've got some cool guests, and I think you will really enjoy it. Stephen Bell was fantastic, and you will absolutely love it as you get ready for Factory Stock Showdown this week out in Norwalk. Also, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. I was just reading a communication on our Facebook page from someone who went on the dragster adventure, and I was heartened to know that the reason they went on the Dragster Adventure was they heard about it on WFO radio. And I'm hoping, they told me about it, but I'm hoping they told Frank about it, honestly. And they say that they did, which is great. The idea that you can drive a dragster without massive investment, that's really what it's all about. This is one of the most fun things you can do in auto racing, but the investment is kind of challenging to people. Here it is. Just got done with the Dragster Adventure at Joliet, runner-up in the challenge race. Frank and his staff were top-notch. Cars were incredible. Thanks for talking about it on the podcast. That's where I heard about it. It was great. Hope to run into you at the races in Joliet, and I did not run into him, named Tanner, at the races in Joliet. But thank you, Tanner, for your feedback, and that's exactly what it's all about, folks. Go to frankhawley.com to find out more information. Also, I get a lot of feedback on Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com. Marvin Rodak is a longtime supporter of the podcast. They've got special blends of coffee that are drag racing themed, and also some exotics, like the Mexico Finca La Engencia, which is probably something of the Angels, right? I'm just guessing. The Colombia El Roble, the Guatemala Triple X, Costa Rica La Capilla. All of these things. Do you know what they are? These are exotic coffees that you cannot buy at your corner store. But Marvin's got them, along with mugs and tools for grilling and hot sauces and spice rubs. So many great things. Go to Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com. Click on Contact. Get the number. Give them a call. Don't miss out. Also, HusseyPerformance.net. Quality copper head gaskets that work on championship running cars, like Sean Bellemere. If you're building engines and listening to WFO and buying copper head gaskets, this should be a no-brainer. They are what champions choose, and they are some of the best in the business, the most accurate, the best copper, because they have 40 years' experience. Go to HusseyPerformance.net. And finally, Hankstafers, metalworking lubricants, Hankstafers Laboratories, just doing great work. And the folks at Hankstafers, you look on the JFR cars, you look on the DSR cars, they all got little stickers that say Hankstafers. And go to Hankstafers.com to find out more. 800-433-LUBE. If you've got a factory, a shop, if you want your cutting tools to last longer and work better. That's what Hankstafer is all about. They create solutions for you. Hankstafers.com. Not to mention Drag Racing Edge Magazine, EV3 Drag Racing for your mobile device. It is a fun game. Everybody talking about video games. There are games out there. EV3 Drag Racing for your mobile device. Check them out online. All right, time to get into it. Joining us now, he is the voice of the NHRA. Will be calling the action in Norwalk, called the action at Bristol Dragway. He's a general wealth of information, including about drag racing. Alan Reinhart joins us now. Alan, welcome back.
Hey, Joe, great to be back. Man, what a show last week in Bristol, huh?
Yes, I was thrilled. I thought it was great. Father's Day weekend. I had a great time, and we got two different winners on WFO Radio this week. We got Bob Tasca. We got Mike Salinas. Mark Caruso going to be on the show. Give us a little bit of an update. But bottom line, very thrilling race.
When you picked up the phone, did it just call Steve Torrance automatically?
It did. I was programmed to call Torrance. I accidentally. And judging by what they're saying, I saw that they broke a crank or had some sort of parts malfunction. That was a close one. He made it to the final round for almost 6 in a row. They are great. But Salinas takes him down. And I think that's so good for us to build up this, like, Steve's the champ, but there are challengers emerging storylines.
I think it's interesting that, you could make the argument that the two best running top fuel cars out there are both independents. And, yes, Steve has his dad that runs from time to time, and they help Scott Palmer. And so, they're not exactly on their own island, but, they're not one of the big super teams, don't have a ton of corporate backing. They're doing it all themselves. And Mike Salinas, the same thing. Now, obviously Mike Salinas has Alan Johnson, and that's a pretty big ace in the hole. But if you look at the math on the top fuel final, Steve was certainly out in front at the 8th mile mark based on, reaction time and what the cars were doing. But his car didn't run all the way to the finish line. And if it had, who knows what would have happened. It certainly would have been a little bit closer. But I think, good for Mike. Too bad for Steve. But I really like Steve Torrance with a chip on his shoulder. And the times that he has gotten upset or gotten mad or gotten I think he just comes back stronger and stronger, and it's going to be fun to watch him the next couple of events. So I'm really okay with the way the whole thing turned out.
Absolutely, dominance is great. But every once in a while, somebody else has got a shot in just to keep it interesting, get a shot in to keep it interesting. And that's what we saw. This takes nothing away from the Capco team. They are incredible. They are dominant. And, Alan Johnson and others started to see Troy Fashing, Rob Flynn, and Doug Coletta get on the board and get moving a little bit. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. But on this given weekend, it was Mike Salinas who really got after it and won the race. And I really like the juxtaposition of those two personalities, Mike and Steve Torrence. I know Brian mentioned the word rivalry on the TV show a few weeks back, and Steve was called him out, made him super famous, by the way, by saying, hey, it's not a rivalry. But whatever it is, if you're two competitors, you're both very successful, and you go about it in different ways. Steve will tell you what he thinks and then go do it, and Mike will be quiet about it and show you what he thinks by doing it. And I think that's interesting. People are going to rally, different styles of people are going to rally around those two different styles of driver.
I think so too, and I really like Steve Torrence, and he over the years has occasionally, in the heat of the battle, said something that he would then later backtrack on. But I think that's kind of what Brian was picking up on, and I'm not taking sides in any of this, but I had a situation with Steve one time when I had a conversation with him, and he said, you mark my words, this is how it is. And I've said that on the PA, and I then got, hey, look, we really don't want to build this into a big thing. That was just one little incident. And, hey, you're the one that said it. I didn't make it up. So, but I like Steve's fiery personality, and I'm fine with if sometimes he goes a little bit over the edge because he's emotional, because he's vested, because he wants it so bad, and because he doesn't like losing. And if I'm looking for a driver, that's the guy I want driving my car. I don't want a guy who throws a touchdown pass in the Super Bowl and goes, oh, well, maybe we'll have another chance someday. I want a guy who throws a touchdown pass in the Super Bowl and is furious that it happened. And that's Steve. He's got a lot of personality. He's very fiery, and I'm good with that. If I'm looking for a driver, I would pick him up in a heartbeat. And, I don't care if sometimes maybe he's a little bit over-enthusiastic in the heat of the battle. I'm okay with that.
Totally agree. Let's go deeper on this in that for all of these years, so many people have been saying that we want drivers that show us their personality and tell it like they think it is and are who they are and are true to themselves. And here you got Steve Torrence now, who absolutely is. And every once in a while he'll say something. I can think of a couple of examples right off the top of my head that the second he said it, he probably said, oh, yeah. Maybe that wasn't the right thing to say. I am more than happy to sort those out and clean them up because that's not where his heart is. The kid's got a good heart, that's no doubt. But at least he's trying to be entertaining. Thank goodness, and he is.
No, I agree 100%. And I've spoken to drivers a number of times over the years about this, doing some interview coaching and some other stuff. If I show up at the race, my ultimate goal is to win the race. Now, I'm not going to stand on top of my trailer and go, I'm here to kick you guys' butt, every one of you. I hate you. But my goal is to win the race. And I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that. If Steve Torrence has got the baddest hot rod on the property and you come up to me and I'm, hey, you got to race Steve Torrence next. Well, that's what I want. I want to be the guy who beats him. Right now they're kicking everybody's butt. I want to be the guy that puts an end to that. Come on, Steve, bring it on. Let's go. And if I lose, I lose. But I want people to know that this is important to me and that I'm there because I think I can accomplish the task. The guys that, are trying to be so politically correct and not upset everybody and, well, boy, those guys got a really good team and they're really good guys and we really like those guys. And I went and had dinner with them the other night and their kids are great. And, we're just lucky to be on the same racetrack with them. Well, that's not my team's. That's not what I want my team's attitude to be. I want my team's attitude to be, look, we know right now those guys are kicking everybody's butt, and I came to end that streak. That's my goal here. I may or may not accomplish it, but I want you to know that I'm not feeling like I'm happy to be on the same track with him. I came to stop him. That's my mission. And at that point, you haven't disrespected anybody. You haven't said anything that I think is going to put you on the old locker room, the locker room billboard, so to speak. But you have stated your goal, and now the fans can pick a side, and I think that's important.
Absolutely. The fans need to be able to pick a side. That's exactly right. There has to be contrast. That's all. They're all driving Top Fuel dragsters. They're all trying to win. There has to be some contrast, and I think we've got it now, and I'm excited about where this is going and the balance. There's certainly mutual respect. It is kind of fun. Mike Salinas, his second win. He talked a little bit about his father, having dementia and seeing his own name out there on the track. All kinds of interesting stuff. I talked to his guys in the winner's circle. I asked them about their Harleys. I was like, "Hey, are you guys like the Black Widows now? Like a motorcycle?" They're like, "No, we're the Sons of Salinas." So it seems like there's a chemistry going on over there.
Well, the guys that work for Alan Johnson have always had good chemistry, and that's why they've worked for Alan Johnson. When he has gone from team to team to team, from the Army to JFR to now Salinas, he has always kept his guys with him. And that goes back, the Alanabi days and all that stuff. They like working for Alan. Alan likes and trusts the guys on his team. And there's a lot of camaraderie there. And you never, even if things aren't going well, you don't have finger pointing, you don't have stress, you don't have, you don't have friction inside the team. That just doesn't exist. And the guys really enjoy working together, spending time together, having a beer at the end of the day together. They are a team in every sense of the word. And I think that's great. And the Sons of Salinas, considering that the guy's got 4 daughters, and now he's got, 8 sons? So, the old extended family is going on and on. I also think, and this is the, Lewis Bloom for pointing it out, but how fitting was it that on Father's Day, the guy that won Top Fuel has 4 daughters, and the guy that won Funny Car has 4 sons, and everybody was there with their family to enjoy the moment.
Very cool. Very cool. That's the whole point of the weekend, and Bristol doing a great job with it. And, some years it's bigger, some years it's a little smaller, but we always have got a diehard group of people come out and spend Father's Day with us. Let's talk about some of the other stories, though, that happened, that went down in Top Fuel, which I thought are definitely worthy of discussing. And, Lex June, the first round win of their American NHRA career. Gerda June was just, freaking out is a good term. Over the moon is a good term. But the never quit hashtag that we talk about, like they came over and they're trying and they're doing and they're progressing. And it was a tire smoker against Leah Pritchett, but they won a round in the National Hot Rod Association. That is pretty cool.
You know what? They came up and they did their job better than Leah's team did, and that's all that matters. The light came on your scoreboard. You look at that happens time and time again. We don't make such a big deal out of it when it happens between, some of the more regular winning teams. You look at what happened between Terry McMillan and Doug Coletta. Doug Coletta smoked the tires right at the step. Terry smoked them down track. Doug chased him down and beats him, going 100 miles an hour faster by a few inches. And everybody goes, wow, but, if that's Doug's first win, that's a huge thing. It wasn't, so it's just, an exciting round. But if you're Lex and Gerda, they know they're not going to go out there and run 375 or 380. They know that. So we're going to go out there. We're going to do the best job we can. And if it's enough, that's great. We'll come back and try it again. And if it's not, then we'll come back next week and we'll try it again, because they're not giving up. And on that particular run, they simply did a better job than Leah's team, and they deserve to celebrate that. And again, the emotion that's there, it wasn't just, well, geez, we're really lucky to be on the same racetrack. It's like, wow, we finally got something to show for our efforts. And they've been putting in a lot of effort. And, who knows? His next round of win might be next week. It might not be for 2 months, depending on what he's going to do on the schedule and what happens. So, good on them that they went out and got it done and showed that, there's a reason the underdogs are there, because sometimes they can pull the upset.
To that point, Leah Pritchett was having a really strong weekend as the number 2 qualifier going down the racetrack. Just shows it can jump up and bite you, and she really had that car sideways trying to win the race. Dominic Lagana, same thing. Number 10 versus Brittany Force, number 7. Dom gets by her. Dom gets by Lex. And next thing you know, you got Lagana, going up against Steve Torrance, another brother versus brother matchup with Bobby and Dom in the semifinals. And I really think that Nitro Ninja car, the more it keeps coming out, they're finding their way into some late rounds. They could be a dark horse to win a race somewhere.
It's certainly possible. They've got good equipment, and they've certainly got the support system that they need over there between the brothers and between the Capco folks, and the little bit of funding and help that they get from Cat Spot and some of the others. But they're just out there just to have a good time and spoil somebody's day. and they were able to make that happen for a couple of times, this past weekend. I also I want to give a tip of the cap. Dom filled in for Nitro School. We had Bobby on the schedule, and he had some stuff going on, and asked if he could bow out, and Dom filled in and did a spectacular job. I knew the knowledge that he had from being around those cars literally since before he was born, with his mom and dad taking him to the races, diapers all the way up. I did not know how well he could speak and how well he could relay information to the fans, and how he could take something very complex and put it into terms that the average fan could understand. He did a spectacular job with Nitro School, and I want to give him a public commendation for that.
No, and I know he's been wanting to do one for a while. Like, Dom has been wanting to do one. Everyone's got to understand, like, in my opinion, who's got star power eventually. I think if Dom was out there on a regular basis and fans could get to know him and used to him and rely that he would be at the next race racing, he would have a lot of people in his corner for all of these different reasons. And I knew he would do well at that. And also, they've got a great sense of humor, like with the come-out songs, Dominic the Donkey. Like, that's a joke. And he went with it.
That wasn't his idea.
I know, but he was aware of it in advance, which was important to know. He knew that they were going to do it. I was confused about it. Like, did he know? He's like, yeah, I knew in advance. I just think it's great. And that's cool.
Yeah, I agree with you. And just, to finish up the thoughts of Nitro School, that there's a number of the events that we pick somebody based on the sponsor. If it's a Dodge race, we're going to have a Dodge driver. Tim Wilkerson always does the Norwalk race because he's a Summit driver. Robert always does the Auto Club back races. So there are some of those that are automatic, and the rest of them we kind of fill in here and there with, hey, who wants to try it, or who's done it before, or who's local and, going to have friends and family kind of thing that might be there. But I can tell you this, when I put together the schedule next year, I'm certainly going to go to Dom and ask him what his schedule is, where he's going to be, and see if we can get him more involved. He really did a nice job.
There you go. Now, love it. Now moving over to Funny Car, where John Force was the number one qualifier and got through Tommy Johnson, Jack Beckman to go to the final round. Meanwhile, the number 3 qualifier, Bob Tasca, who's basically got a collection of former John Force crew chiefs and employees over there working as his crew chief team, went from number 3 through Jim Campbell, Robert Height, and Ron Capps to get to the final round. Shaped up just awesome story. Force trying to get that 150th national event win. You can imagine that the casual fans out there are looking to see this legend get a win, and nobody on Tasca's team wants to see that happen. We're going to hear from John Schaffer and Eric Lane, by the way, later on in the show from the winner's circle. But to me, that's a great story that we got to watch play out.
Yeah, it was fun to see the two of them, the way they worked their way through the day and got to where they were. Both of them ended up in the final round in the lanes that they had been preferring all day long, so nobody had an excuse there. And I didn't have an opportunity to talk to anybody after it was over with, but there was no question something was wrong with John Force's car. When he did the burnout, it took him an inordinate amount of time to get the thing in reverse. And then once they got it back behind the starting line, again, it took a long time to get it out of reverse and to roll back up. Tasca even made the comment. He said, I didn't know if he was trying to run me out of nitro up there or what was going on. But, the car went, at least it left the starting line clean, and then got into trouble further down track. And who knows what it could have, should have, might have, hard to say. But Bob Tasca had a really good car all day, and Bob Tasca went out and accomplished the goal at hand. And he is a guy, and he said it, and he's done it more than once. He's here to win. He's here to be competitive. He's here to be in the championship conversation and in the mix. And when he's not afraid to shake things up and make changes to try to make it happen. He's done that quite a bit already this year. It looks like now they finally have got a winning combination, because as you said, they had a really good car all weekend. They had a good car in qualifying. They had a great car on race day. They certainly didn't back into anything.
Very important, given Ford's involvement and all that Bob put out on the line to get them back. And in NHRA drag racing, something we've been thinking about a little bit lately, we've got Fiat Chrysler automobiles with the Dodge brand. We've clearly got Chevrolet with the John Force team and the Chevrolet Performance U.S. National, Toyota on board with Coletta Motorsports, and Ford with Wilk and Bob Tasca. So we've got 4 major manufacturers involved in our Nitro Funny Car ranks. That's impressive. I don't know if it's unheard of, but it's certainly a lot of involvement for major auto manufacturers in the NHRA.
Well, I think that they see what, some other sponsors see, and what, I believe there's going to be, during the before the end of the summer, I think you're going to hear some very positive sponsor things for, some things that have been in the works for a couple of years. When we put the new TV package into place and got, a much more solidified schedule and a much a partner that was more interested in promoting and seeing us do well on the TV side, a network that has an interest in making sure that we do what we do, that this was going to pay dividends. And I think having all the manufacturers involved as part of that, I think there's some more good sponsor news that is coming down the road, because you just look at, some of the other places where a manufacturer can spend money, and what they want, plain and simple, is contact with the fans. They want to be able to sell cars. They want to be able to get information. They want to be able to show their stuff. They want to be able to have a display where the fans can come by and look at this and sign up for that and do. And that's something that NHRA offers. And the price tag in NHRA is considerably less than some of the other series that are out there racing. And the fan accessibility is considerably higher. And I firmly believe, and I've heard, just kind of some rumblings and some rumors, but I firmly believe that before the end of the summer, there's going to be some good news on the sponsor front with some more major companies that are sticking their toes in the water of NHRA. We've seen a few of them come out and try, but there's some more coming down the road.
Very exciting. Good to hear, and that has got me excited about the future. And I totally agree, and I heard it from people on the property out at Bristol. They let's make no mistake, they've got the world's fastest half mile over the world's last great Coliseum, Bristol Motor Speedway, somewhere that I've been for the night race, and I drove 13 hours to get there, and I loved it and enjoy it. And if I was anywhere reasonably close, I would be there every time there was a race there if I was available, because I think it is spectacular. Maybe a little different than it once was, but still spectacular. But for whatever reason, fans are choosing to do other things. NHRA drag racing continues to grow. We've got a very modern product in that it's, a bunch of short races, and it's manageable, and the attention span is right in step with what everybody is doing. And I think it is time for drag racing right now to emerge as, just to continue to grow. How about that? Continue to grow. Let's talk Pro Mod. Todd Tutterow crashes a week ago, thrashes to get a new car, number one qualifier, comes out first round, red lights to Jose Gonzalez, who goes on to win the race. Just, amazing storylines in Pro Mod. The downside, Mark Caruso in the net. We're going to hear from Mark on the show later on, but just a gamut of emotions in Pro Mod.
You're having a wild day when the final four competitors in Pro Modified started from 14th, 16th, 17th, and number 2. I mean, that gives you an idea just how competitive, the old wall. Anybody that qualifies can win. That's something that's been said over and over throughout the course of the years. But I think right now, Pro Modified is proving that more than any other category out there in NHRA right now, because there are so many good cars that come, because it is such a fight just to qualify. Nobody qualifies in Pro Mod by being a second off the pace. Any of the 16 cars on race day, just hold my beer and watch this, and that's kind of where Pro Mod started. But Erica Enders getting in as an alternate after Mark Caruso's trip into the net when he obviously destroyed the car and wasn't going to come back. Alternates are allowed in the E3 Pro Modified Series, and she made it all the way to the semifinals. But, the 3 cars out of the final 4 are qualified 14th, 16th, and 17th, and that tells you how competitive that class is from top to bottom.
Absolutely. Very fun racing. Stevie Fast told us a week ago his goal was to qualify. Since last year he didn't. His goal was to win a round, and he did it. He qualified and won a round, but Sydney was able to take him down in the second round of racing. He was. You guys did a Pro Mod school. You mentioned it last week on the show. How did that go?
It actually went very well. Steve is very well-spoken and very outspoken, which makes it interesting. I was able to gather some parts and pieces to do a little show-off. I think one of the things that the fans seemed to appreciate a lot was I had a bolt-together torque converter like the vast majority of the Pro Mod teams are running, and Steve brought a bolt-together lock-up torque converter like he runs in his Outlaw car in the Shadow and in some of the other stuff. And we literally took them apart on stage, showed the inside, showed the gut, showed the difference between some of the stuff. I think that's something that a lot of the fans were pretty excited to see. And, we talked a lot about, what's the better combination on this day, on this track, on this. with Bristol being a little bit of an altitude track, historically speaking, turbos have had an advantage up there. But the weather was a little more friendly in Bristol this year than it has been in years past, and that certainly evened up the playing field a bit for the blower cars. You mentioned Todoroki being the number one qualifier, and the fact that there was a nitrous car in the final round, I think, was good for the class as well. You and I have talked about it over and over and over again. The nitrous cars are needed just because there are fans of the nitrous cars that we need them. We want them to come out there and be Pro Mod fans. And if there weren't nitrous cars in Pro Mod, then I think there's a number of people that would lose some interest in the class. Some of the big names have said, well, nitrous can't be competitive anymore, and they basically threw in the towel. But there's a couple of guys out there that are still fighting the nitrous fight, and I think that they are showing people you can be competitive in a nitrous car. It's good for the class, and it was, Bob gave it a ride, so good for him.
Yes, great job, Bob Ram, and a whole lot of fun out there at Bristol Dragway. But just like that, we are getting ready for Norwalk. And this weekend, it's going to be a little different at Norwalk, Alan. First of all, we had some crazy stuff happen out there this weekend. Had a little mini power outage, had us down for about 30 minutes or so. And, of course, the internet goes crazy, like it was our fault on purpose or something, and we planned it.
Power surge, Joe, not outage. Surge.
Surge, exactly. Surge.
Yep.
It's surge. It's much better than an outage. I've been saying outage. But bottom line is we were down for a little while. Also, things that are out of our control. Norwalk has been blasted by some weather. And so this weekend, the program is going to be a little bit different. The Mellow Yellow Series, the alcohol cars, Factory Stock Showdown, because the pits are soft, as I understand it. What have you heard?
That's exactly it. There's not going to be any stock, super gas, super comp, any of those Lucas Series events that normally pit on the west side of the racetrack, because that basically is a grass pit area, and it is just too soft to park trucks and trailers and rigs. And there's no point in everybody getting out there getting buried in the mud. There's possibility of still some rain this week. I mean, me, I never look at forecasts, and this week I'm looking at them. But they wanted to make the call before everybody packed up their stuff and started driving there, instead of having everybody get to the gate and then go, okay, well, we really don't have any place for you. One thing about Norwalk, it's a beautiful facility, love the place. The Bader family does a tremendous job. But unlike, let's say, Chicago, there is the option of, we've got a lot of pavement over at the circle track. Now, it's on the other side of the street, and it's a little bit of a hike, and it's a little bit of a headache, but we can make it work. We've got hard ground, paved ground, concrete ground that we can pit people on if we need to, like we did in Chicago this year. That's not an option at Norwalk. There just isn't any place that, half a block away where you can still sneak in and out and not be on public roads. It's just not possible. So instead of having everybody show up and then turn them around, they made the call early before everybody gets loaded up that this is what's going to happen this week. The sportsman part of this will be contested at some point in the future, and I haven't heard an exact date. I know they're looking at, the other schedules and trying to figure out what might work best for the racers to come back. So at some point, they will be invited back to come contest their part of it. But this weekend, it's going to be basically just all really loud, really fast cars. We're going to give up some of the fun ones. You know me, I love stock and super stock, and I know how you feel about that competition as well. But it is also going to open up a little more opportunity for the fans. I mean, I don't know if you saw it, but, we're doing a track walk on Friday.
Yes, I did see that. That's cool.
Yeah, we're not going to have the on-track activity that we normally have with the sportsman running, and we're not going to start the program on Friday with as far as race cars going down the track until 1 o'clock. So we're going to invite the fans to come out, hang out, do a little track walk. I'm sure there's going to be some stuff going on in the pits. I know, NHRA is discussing a lot of plans and a lot of things to give the fans something to do if they want to come out early before we put cars on the racetrack. And it's just going to be a little bit of a different show, but we are going to see all the pros out there, and, of course, including the pro soccers that are back this week.
Very exciting stuff. Alan Reinhart, great job. Any final thoughts as we look back on Thunder Valley? Obviously, Mountain Motor Pro Stock there, Todd Horner picking up the win, Sonny Leonard engine. I got to witness some really cool stuff with Sonny, under the tower. Ty Tharp, Top Fuel Harley, he's right back in the mix. Johnny Brooks in that awesome Chevy 2 Top Sportsman car that I know you loved and I loved. We didn't talk about it, but, man, that thing was special. Ray Sawyer, Todd Ewing, Monty Bogan, Joe Santangelo, all picking up the win. Any final thoughts, anything that stuck out in your mind?
I just think it was a great race. The staff there always does a good job as well. And Mother Nature was a little kinder to us. We've been there in years past when it was in the mid-90s and it was very humid and it was just not a nice day to be outside. Friday and Saturday were great. Sunday was a little bit warmer, but it was a much better weather day, and the teams responded by putting on a great show. Bristol has the tunnels underneath it. It's got some bumps on the racetrack. That's just a fact of life. But the weather being a little bit better made it not quite so bad. The teams adapted, put on a great show. So, 3 down, 1 to go, and then, everybody except me gets a breather because I'm going to Lebanon Valley for the points race after Norwalk.
There you go. Look at this. These guys are diehard, but we already knew that. Alan, great job as usual. Thank you for starting us off right here on WFO Radio.
All right, Joe, travel safe, and I will see you in the land of the ice cream in just a couple of days.
Oh, yeah. I've already got a couple people I told them I'm going to buy them ice cream, and they're all, super stoked about it. Like, this guy's going to buy me ice cream. I did not mention the dollar part. Let's keep that between us.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, once you get there, they're all going to see that sign, and they're going to know that you're just a cheapskate.
So
that's
true.
like, if you're sitting in an airport and a guy buys you a beer, and you go, hey, you know what, next time we're at Applebee's, I'll get even. You go, dude, seriously? This one's $12. The one at Applebee's is going to be $1.75. But, I get away with that every time I can.
So true, so true. Alan, thank you so much.
All right, Joe, travel safe.
Thanks, Alan. There he goes, the voice of the NHRA. Alan Reinhart joins us each week right here on WFO Radio. And I love the fact that Alan starts off the show right. It was a great weekend, whole lot of fun. I ran into a lot of people. I connected with some friends from back in the Miami Hollywood Speedway days, talking about Ernie McDaniel Jr., talking about Mike and Ann Nuttall. I'm talking about a lot of people like that. I got to check out Bristol. I enjoyed all 3 of the Tri-Cities while I was there, spending a little money in the local community. I'll talk about that in my time later on in the show. That's when we'll hear from Mark Caruso as well. Mike Salinas going to be up next. But right now, I want to tell you about Samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinist and Technology. Start your education with full speed at the School of Automotive Machinist and Technology. Accelerate your career as a high-performance engine builder with classroom instruction and practical hands-on experience. And allow me to deviate from the script a little bit. Look, the website is samtech.edu, and just like all of our sponsors, I encourage you to call them and tell them you heard about it on WFO Radio. But this is about the future of the sport, the future of our country, but really your future. If you're a young person, a student, if you're listening to the podcast, you like racing, maybe you've been a crew member and you're thinking, man, I'd like to do something that will benefit me and allow me to stick out above the rest. On our most recent Factory Stock podcast, a crew member for David Barton, who is a crew chief on 3 of the Factory Stock Showdown cars, his name is Travis Hilger, and he went to the school. And he participated in multiple of the classes and went to one and then went to another and went to another. As much as I can say and implore you to check it out, listening to Travis on Factory Stock Podcast will probably seal the deal because he went to the school, he learned what he wanted to learn, he got placed with a racing team, and now he's living the racing dream. Now, maybe that's not your dream. Maybe you want to just have a great job and go to work and not have to worry that your job is going to get sent away. CNC machining or motorsport EFI, all of these things are covered at Samtech. But the combination that they have of excellent training, education, and network where they can connect you with the right people who need you, it's unbeatable. Plus, they have the GI Bill for people who are eligible. It's a military-friendly school. Go to samtech.edu. Call Brian Massengill. Call the Massengill family. Get on there and check it out. Samtech.edu to get started. And you got to make that call to get up to speed. And I encourage you to check out Factory Stock Podcast to hear Travis Hilger. He went to the school, and he talked all about it in between discussing what it's like to race in Factory Stock Showdown, which I think drives home the point. It's your future. Take control of it. Go to samtech.edu, or as they say, start your education at full speed. When we come back, it's going to be Mike Salinas. He's going to give us the details on his second career victory. After this.
This is WFO Radio.
Hey everybody, Joe here, and I hereby decree on behalf of the WFO universe, the summer is here, and that means it's time to grill. Get yourself some Rodax Coffee and Grills.com, barbecue, spice rub, hot sauce, and of course, incredible coffee. They've got the WFO Radio Blend, they've got the Bang the Blower, they've got the Exotics. It's all roasted fresh per your order, representing the top 5% of coffee throughout the world. Go to Rodax Coffee and Grills.com or give Marvin a call. 817-924-6821 or RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com.
WFO Radio is brought to you in part by Extreme Velocity 3 Drag Racing. Download for your mobile device. Win your way on the show. WFO.
Hey, this is Joe Castello, and we'll be back to the show in a second. But first, I want to tell you about CompetitionPlus.com. There's a reason CompetitionPlus.com is the leader among drag racing electronic magazines. Their trained staff is always on alert and always asking the tough questions. The end result is hard-hitting drag racing journalism with up-to-the-minute reporting. For over a decade, CompetitionPlus.com has been a pioneer as drag racing's go-to source for the latest in news, race coverage, and high-quality photography. Their trained staff thrives on getting the inside stories, and their columnists study their topics before they hit their first keystroke. When it comes to covering the races, they leave you feeling as if you've actually been to the race. CompetitionPlus.com is an honest-to-goodness, free drag racing magazine published by the most passionate of drag racing fans, who just happen to be journalists. Don't wonder what's going on in the drag racing world. Be in the know daily. Log on to CompetitionPlus.com.
Subscribe to WFO Radio on iTunes. Never miss a show. And don't forget to write a review. WFO.
Now, back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
Welcome back to NHRA Nitro Podcast, WFO Radio. I know you listen to the podcast in many different ways, and Apple Podcast is great. The WFO app is the best way because we send out push notifications that give you all the details, when the archive's loaded, when you can call in, when to send an email, fun stuff like that. Plus, you got a lot of stuff on the WFO Radio app. We like that because we can control you better. Just kidding. Not really. Better us than other stuff, but Apple Podcast and Spotify work great as well. The show is up on YouTube as well, however you want to listen. Mike Salinas is next, but I got to tell you about MagicDryUS.com. Folks at Magic Dry, I love what they did with Scott Palmer and the Evel Knievel Museum promotion. But in the end, it's about cleaning up spills. Simple as that. As much as they promote, if the product didn't work, people wouldn't buy the product. The product works. People love it. They're using it out at the track. It's the official organic absorbent of the NHRA. It's 5 times more absorbent than other leading clay absorbents. It absorbs 560% of its weight. It's all natural. It's made of coconut. And they make it easy for you to purchase. Go to the web, magicdryus.com, or give them a call, 833-221-2257. That's 833-221-2257. They've got spill kits for whatever side you need, 50 gallons, 20 gallons, 10 gallons, 5 gallons. It all depends on what you're using it for, and who knows better than you. Go to magicdryus.com to find out more information, and always remember, you might not have a shop, but you might have a cat. And if you've got a cat, get Cat Spot. Simple as that. Appreciate you guys listening. All right, it's time to get into it with our next guest, starting us off right. Joining us now, he is your top fuel winner out there at the Thunder Valley National, second big win of the season. Mike Salinas is back on WFO Radio Podcast. Mike, welcome back. Congratulations.
Hey, Joe. Thanks for having me.
Huge win. And I want to know, you win your first. It's going to be the one you remember forever. The second win, though, pretty important also. You are now a multi-time winner. It is real. Mike Salinas is a player in the NHRA.
Yeah, we're learning. It's Alan and the group, all the guys, Brian Houston, Aaron Cave, told me this was coming. So I have to learn how to get ready for it. They know what they're doing, and they're bringing me along. And it's actually pretty surreal, Joe, because coming from where I come from and racing the way we raced, it was not at this level and not at the quality of the level. So it's kind of really awesome, to be honest with you.
Well, it's got to be an amazing experience to be in, but also you have responsibilities being there. You've set up this whole situation, and then all of the intensity and pressure falls back on your shoulders to deliver, and you want that, and you're delivering. That's got to be the most rewarding part. You tell me about that, please.
Yeah, actually, they're a lot to live up to, these guys, and you don't want to let them down. They work so hard. They're doing a great job. From Alan, I mean, all the guys. They if people really understood what it took to do this, it's a big ordeal. But everything falling back on my shoulders is what I signed up for. I do know I have a lot to learn. I do know I'm getting better. I'm learning things that I need to learn to be competitive and about my other race competitors. So it's pretty interesting. It's like going to school all over. And one thing I will tell you is everything I knew about racing was nothing until this level came along, and I'm with Alan and the group. It's a whole new game, so it's really awesome.
Wow. Let's talk about your round by round. Then I'm going to double back on some of those questions because I like to use these interviews as an opportunity to learn and for my audience to learn, because everybody thinks they know. Anybody who has spent any time watching, social media, everybody thinks that they know exactly how to put a championship team out there on the track, right? But they don't. And I would love for the opportunity to learn from your experience. But let's start off with your racing, though. Round one, you and Scott Palmer again. I know you guys are great friends. He told us that you and him are in like a weight loss challenge or something, and you guys are poking a little fun back and forth. But you guys got a race, and you guys went out there and you got the job done. 3,800 first round. That was second low of the round, which was very, very impressive.
Yeah, actually, Scott and I are good friends. But one thing that we do respect each other is it's an honor to race him, because you can't take him lightly, because if you make any mistakes, he's right there to take it away from you. So that's the nice part of all this. Racing with these guys, friends or no friends, when we hit the line, right at the starting line, it's a different game. You got to do your job. That's what all of us are here for. And at the other end, we'll laugh and joke, and but it's very intense. Most people can't comprehend what we have to go through.
Yes, I can't either. Now, he put a wheel on you out there, jumped out, and you were able to power around. I know you don't want that, but for the thrill of driving and the experience of a race, it's got to feel great to see that other car a little bit ahead and then just power on by for the win.
Actually, what's really funny, Joe, on my car, I have blinders. I don't see who I'm racing. I don't see anything in the other lane. I see my lane only, and I don't care who's in the other lane. I race myself every time. So that way, it's me to get my routine down and get better and better at what I'm doing. I couldn't care who I'm racing. When I get into a mode to do this, I literally have blinders on my car, like my helmet. And I couldn't see if I won or didn't win. I have to look at the win light, or else I won't know.
Very interesting. And I think that's definitely a strategy. And I now that you mention it, I have seen the blacked out sides of your car. And so if that is working, that is great. On to round two, where Antron Brown awaits. That's got to be a very challenging battle to prepare for, knowing that Antron, he's not going to be late.
Yeah, he is not going to be late. He is one of the best in the business. But Alan and Brian told me, just go out there. You know your car's right. Go do what you know how to do and go have fun. That was really nice, and it just gives me the confidence to go out there and do my job.
And you did. 071 to his 051. You ran a 90. They smoked the tires. You won the race to punch your ticket into the semifinals, where Doug Coletta awaits. And that is just so cool. Now you're going up against Doug. And that round you got up on the wheel. 046 reaction time, and 81 with a 7, which was really strong at that time of day. Low ET of the round. And it was at that point where, okay, Mike Salinas going to the final round with a real shot to derail Steve. But let's talk a little bit about that run against Doug. You guys really you brought it out for Doug.
You know what's really funny is with Doug, because I think Doug is the best in the business. I think he is. He is so consistent, it's scary. I talked to him, and he's very methodical, thought process and everything like that. But what he does out on the track, Jesus, he's he's amazing how he drives, how he is able to cut these lights over and over and over again. And it's you really need to step up with this guy, And Doug has not won against me all year, and 90% of the time I've cut amazing lights on him. So I wish, for some reason, I need to learn how to get in that mode, because every time I race Doug, at the last race I did a 46 on him and he red lit. And I need to be in the 40s to beat these guys. And my whole goal is to be in the 40s. And I'm telling you, Joe, I practice at home an hour a day on a tree that we made. It's like a car. And I sit there and it's all great on that tree. I'm cutting great lights. But when you get to the track and you're in this car and it's rattling and shaking and vibrating, it's not even close to being the same thing,
Yeah.
But the cool part is racing these guys. They're making me step up to a level. And look, I'm not perfect. I'm trying to learn how to do this stuff. The cool part is I know we're going to be good with this, because we all have the same common goal, is to be a world champion at the end, if we could pull this off. And it's up to me, the crew, and we are a team. So the nice part is my guys give me tips when they see things that I'm doing wrong, and they're not afraid to talk to me and tell me, hey, Mike, I saw you do this. Try this next time. It might be better. And that's why it's starting to work.
Wow. Well, I can imagine. And just to drive home the point for the audience out there, and we all, Doug Coletta is the man. 070 first round, 065 second round, 069 third round. So 5,000 margin of reaction time. He's a robot out there, and it is pretty amazing what he's able to do. But you got by him. Other side of the ladder, Steve Torrence, to set up the big final round. That is, for my money, the two top contenders of the past couple of months of NHRA drag racing. You got a win, you got some wins, you got another win, and it's got to be fun. I know it's fun for us, thinking about it, building up to it, watching it all play out. What about for you guys? Like, I know it's intense, but is it also fun to prepare for a final round against the champ?
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is what we came for. It is what we came for. And the nice part about all of this, Steve is the best out there because he is the world champion. And the other part of it is, if you want to step up, you need to really, if you want to do this, you need to step up, and you need to rise up to the occasion and do well. And he cut a good light on me. I know Steve is going to be in the 60s and 70s, 50s most of the time. But one thing that I do have, I have Alan Johnson and my guys, and my car is in great shape, and I have a lot of confidence. What we are doing, Steve and I are doing, we're going to do this all year. I'm telling you, he knows it. I know it. We have a mutual respect for each other because of what we're doing. Think about this one. This is the most important. Alan Johnson got him and Richard Hogan where they're at. Okay, so I mean, basically it's Hogan and Alan, Torrence and me, their crew and my crew. So it's going to be an awesome battle. And what's really funny? I don't worry about Steve too much. You know who I really worry about?
Who's that?
It's Billy Torrence. The reason why, Billy comes in after being gone for 3 weeks or 4 weeks, comes back in, does not skip a beat, comes in. Can you imagine if Billy Torrence came and ran all the time? That's the guy.
Well, I've been thinking about that. I have been thinking and asking him about it. And he is a very humble man, as are you. And he'll he'll brush it off. But how on earth does any one person, not just Mike, not just Top Fuel, remember a few years back he jumped in a super comp car and went out and won the race out in Atlanta? That's hard to do.
Yeah, it's just I think it's really funny. Even though Steve won the championship, I think he should take some really good lessons from his father, because I think that's the guy that we all got to keep an eye on. Because what's amazing is if he decides to come out, he's the guy that's going to win the championship. I mean, he's the guy that's going to go after it, and it's going to be a pleasure to race with all of them. It's really going to be cool next weekend because Torrences don't like to lose because they are on a mission. They don't like to lose, but so many years they lost to get where they're at. Well, now everybody in the class is stepping up. Antron is right there. Doug's right there. I mean, Leah. I mean, all of them. Everybody is there, and you can't take anybody lightly. I mean, look at what happened to Doug. He smokes the tires. I mean, he got lucky and pedaled it, and he's a great driver, or else he would have been out too. I mean, it's so critical. Everything has to be perfect. And like next weekend, every one of us has an idea of what we're going to do. But the nice part about that I learned from Ellen is they have a plan. They literally know what first round, second round. I mean, they qualifying. They have a game plan, unlike what most people would understand. We're not just going out there to race. These guys have a game plan written down. It's scary.
Do you feel like you're in a little bit of a race against time, against yourself in that, the experience level, you're ramping it up and you're trying to learn and you're obviously learning and you've got some of the best helping you learn, but the countdown, it draws closer and closer every week. And at that point, you're going to gain a whole lot of points on Steve, because they're pretty much going to be the leader at that point, unless you guys pull off something amazing. I don't want to discount that. I'm just speaking on averages here. But once the countdown starts, the points are going to be reset, and it's going to be a 6-race championship battle, and you want to be at your best at that point. So do you feel like there's an extra intensity to learn everything you can, to do everything you can, to have every experience you possibly can prior to that?
Oh, yeah. Ellen is the whole year is a test session until the countdown. So Ellen's getting us ready, Brian's getting us ready, and Aaron's getting us ready, and all of our guys are set up. I mean, all of our program that we set up for each race on the countdown, these guys already have it mapped out. I mean, they have a spreadsheet. They know what clutch disc they're going to use. It's really intense. I thought I was racing before. I wasn't even in the game. It's a different level to do what these guys do. If you ever notice, you never see Alan come out of that trailer. That guy, he's like a mad scientist in there, and that's what he's doing, and he's setting this whole thing up. And him and Brian, I mean, they're going back and forth. I mean, from every little detail on that track, the car. I mean, Joe, we were going to go run Coletta, and we fired the motor up, and they called us up. We had 14 minutes to get up there. Okay, they called us up. We fired the car up. Smoke was coming out of the valve cover. These guys changed a motor complete. Pulled the heads off, pulled the blower off, took the pistons out. In 17 minutes, we did not fire it up to go race that Coletta there. That shared themselves. And it was crazy.
No, that's it. Pros, professionals.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, it's a different level. It's a different level than anybody's seen. And Brian told me just before he fired the car, he goes, "We're good. Go get this race. Let's get in the final." And I'm like, wow. I mean, it's amazing to have that confidence. And we go and and literally I can't see who wins or whatever, and I can hear the cars, but I went and I did my deal, and at the end of it, I'm like, it's amazing to be part of. It's like being a fly on the wall, watching the stuff and all the super things and secret squirrel things they do to make this work. It's just not going racing. I mean, when they go set low ET at an event or break a track record, if you notice, the guys don't cheer. They're expected to do this. They know this. It's Alan calls out the number before we go out there. He tells you what you're going to run, and it's like, how does he do this?
Yeah, well, I'm getting excited just hearing you talk about it, Mike, because I know you have a long-standing, lifelong passion for the sport of drag racing, and you've done well, and you've put yourself right into the heart of it, but you have not lost that appreciation. I can tell that.
Oh, no, not by any means. Not by any means. I look forward to doing this and having a great time with the family out here and watching my daughters grow and this stuff. And, we've had a great time out here. Met really good people, and, NHRA has been great with us, and just everybody at all these races. I mean, when my daughter fell off the bike there, you wouldn't believe how many fans came over and they're worried about her and talking, and, it's pretty darn, it's kind of humbling, very humbling for all of us in our family, because Gianna's kind of a introvert. She's to herself, and she's getting all this attention, and she's a little shocked by it, you know.
I can understand. Well, listen, after that, we're just thrilled. Every time I see her, I'm thrilled. Let me ask you about motorcycles, since you brought it up in the media center. You shocked a lot of people, and I had a lot of people come up to me after the media center interview and was like, "Is he serious about that?" And that's why I asked you, "Are you serious about that?" You're gonna. Well, you can't run Top Fuel and Pro Stock Motorcycle in the same race. So you said, for everybody that doesn't know, Mike said he was going to run Pro Stock Motorcycle at a race at some point in the future, maybe next year. Is that accurately portraying it, Mike?
Yes, it is. We are. I'm gonna work on getting my license and get a team together, and I want to race with my kids. If everything goes to par, I might be able to race with Jasmine and APU at Vegas. I just want to race with my kids, and it's more important to me than anything else. I want to race with my girls in the same class, you know. So Gianna, she picked the bike, so I'm going to go do the bike. I'm going to learn. I've been riding bikes all my life, and I have a lot of fast bikes, so I think we're going to have a great time, you know. And I don't know if you've watched Facebook or any of these things on Instagram, and she said that came out, and she saw that, and she says, "Bring it on."
Really?
No. We have. You want to talk about rivalries? That's our family when we go race. You know, we are very competitive. So like, we push each other to the next level. So, like, my two daughters, if they were racing together, they wouldn't have a rivalry. But my daughters and me, I expect a lot out of them, more than most people would ever for their children. So the other part of it is, like, Gianna, I need to beat her, and Jasmine, I need to beat her.
That is awesome. That is awesome. For the parents of the world out there, Mike Salinas is fighting for all of you. I think that is so great. And that experience teaches them that, you love them, but you're not going to lay over.
Oh, no. You know, growing up when they were little kids, I don't know how to lose. I don't know how to. I couldn't lay down, or I couldn't quit. Just because they were smaller or not good at something, and they were learning how to do it, I wouldn't let them win at anything. Never. And just ask them one time. I would never let them win. But when they would win, it was well deserved, because they knew how hard it is. Because the world is not going to be kind to them, you know.
Yes. No, that is an excellent value to teach. And that's part of what has been fun watching you guys kind of enter the sport at such a high level, is that it's all on display for everybody to see what you guys are bringing to the table. All right, one more question for you, Mike.
Yes,
I went and saw the crew in the winner's circle, and they were tearing down. You'd already kind of went off to do media stuff, et cetera. And so and they were all there, and I made a comment about the motorcycles, like like they were a biker gang. I was like, "Hey, what are you guys, the Black Widows?" Right? Like a joke about they're all got motorcycles now, and they're like, "No, we're the Sons of Salinas." Like a joke about Sons of Anarchy. They say they're getting jackets, Mike. You've created something here.
No, I just. If you surround yourself with happy, positive, confident people, you're going to have great outcomes. If you change people's lives, you do special little things. You want to be. We choose to be successful. We choose to be happy. We choose to. All I want in my life is peace, harmony, and happiness, Joe. And I want to be happy. I don't want to be around negative people. I don't want to be around people that don't have it together. We can help them get together. And we can help the people that are negative to be positive, but positive mental attitude. That's what we wake up with every morning, and we want to be happy. We choose to smile. We choose to be good. And that's what I want, and that's what my guys are like that. No matter what we do, when we make a mistake or we don't win a race or I mess up on the lights, the first thing my guys do when they pick me up is say, we'll do it next time. We did good. We did good this weekend. Nothing negative. We never point fingers. This team is amazing. And so all we did was we're building a nice foundation for something for the future.
Very exciting. Mike, congratulations. Your second win in the Mellow Yellow Series Top Fuel Eliminator. You are emerging, of course. Torrance, the champ. They won 5 in a row. Who's going to be able to stop it? You guys were the ones to stop the streak, as you mentioned, and I agree. You two are going to battle for the rest of the year, but Antron Brown is coming on. Doug Coletta, Troy Fashing, Rob Flynn, those guys are coming on. There's a lot of teams that are just not going to let you guys be the only stars of the show. And for me and fans of drag racing, that is exciting. So good luck. Have fun. Obviously, we'll be racing again in a couple of days, the final of 4 in a row. But it has been so much fun to watch. I'm glad you're enjoying it as well.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, Mike. Mike Salinas with us here on WFO Radio. And just to hear Mike talk about the inner workings of his team with Alan Johnson and the way that they go about everything, and he's as much appreciative of it as he is in the middle of it. And, hearing him talk about his, let's call it, competitor. Steve didn't like the word rival, right? It seems negative. A competitor, then. I love the fact that they are two people that want the same thing. And, Brian said on the broadcast, rival. And I know why he said rival, because they're going at it. And Steve took umbrage to that a little bit and then explained it on WFO Radio. And as Alan Reinhart said, I love that Steve comes on the show. And if he says something, let's call it slightly inartfully, whatever it may be, and in this case there was nothing, but, we'll just smooth it out. We want you to know Steve Torrance and Mike Salinas and pick your favorite. But in the end, you should be rooting for somebody. You should care one way or another. And I think it's going to be great. I picture Steve as the champ. I made the boxing analogy in the media center. Steve is the heavyweight champ, and Mike Salinas is a contender rising up the ranks. And he's rising up the ranks, and he's making some noise, and he's hungry. And he wants what Steve's got, the belt, and he wants the title. But there are other contenders. Antron Brown is a contender. And Doug Coletta is a contender. And they're all out there and, trying to sort it all out and get a little pub and make some waves and be the top contender. Steve's the champ. Who's the top contender? Who's the number one ranked contender? I say it's Mike Salinas right now. The number one ranked contender is Mike Salinas. I love the power rankings. But to me, the ultimate ranking is the one with the number you earned the previous year. And Steve Torrance is number one until someone takes it away. And they could have problems between now and the U.S. Nationals and go out and win the championship. So I'm interested to see how it all shapes out. But I'm also interested in the differences in these guys' characters and personalities. Of course, they have great mutual respect. Of course. They should. They get along. They like each other. When it comes to on the track, they are both going for it. And that is going to be fun. And like Mike says, it's going to happen a whole lot more. Coming up next, we've got Bob Tasca. Bob Tasca, first win since 2012. Tasca, first win since Ford has returned. We're going to hear from Bob. We're going to hear from his crew chiefs, Eric Lane, John Schaffer, on-location audio, exclusive to WFO Radio and you podcast listeners. But right now, I want to tell you about Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School and the Dragster Adventure. I got so excited at the start of the show, I read you the communication I got from Tanner. I don't want to say his last name in case he doesn't want that. But he went on the Dragster Adventure. He heard about it through the WFO Radio podcast. He had a good time, and he got runner-up in the challenge race. To me, that says it all. Now, we've had other listeners go on the deal, which is why Frank and Lana continue to support WFO Radio. If you are a listener, this is something that you can do. They make it easy. They make it friendly. They make it fun. What are your reasons for not wanting to go on it? There's only a couple. Maybe you don't have the time, which I get. I say make time. Every day that goes by, you don't know what's going to happen. You might get busier tomorrow. Things may change. You got the time. You got the money. You'll never give up the memories. It's going to be something that you experience and you remember and you can talk about and you can have a good time with it for the rest of your life. They make it convenient. You don't have to bring anything. The helmets, the fire suits, the instruction. You just show up at the track. What is better than that? They've got one going on July 19th, Summit Motorsports Park. Woodburn Drag Strip. There's one spot remaining, end of June. Maple Grove, August 16th. 9 spots remaining. Auto Club Dragway, October 18th. 13 spots remaining. Courses start at $399 for a full-day experience where you make 3 runs, 1 half-track, 2 full-track passes, you're interacting with Frank Hawley, and you're having fun driving a dragster. Go to frankhawley.com or give them a call. 866-480-7223. That's 866-480-7223. It is the Dragster Adventure, and of course, tell them you heard about it on WFO Radio. And you will be texting me and thanking me. I think you will, because you're going to love it. We'll be back with Bob Tasca after this.
It ain't just wide open, it's WFO.
Hussey Performance Copper Head Gaskets. You got to call David directly. 724-318-8292. Hussey Performance Copper Head Gaskets for you engine builders out there. These guys are supporting WFO. Check them out. It is husseyperformance.net.
Start your education at full speed with the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Accelerate your career as a high-performance engine builder with classroom instruction and practical hands-on experience in the lab, on the dyno, and at the track. In addition to the blockhead and CNC programs, SAM now offers motorsport, EFI tuning, and an Associates of Applied Science degree. And SAM is a military-friendly school, approved to train veterans and other eligible persons under the GI Bill. Start your education at full speed. Go to samtech.edu today.
Drag Racing Edge. That's the magazine. Subscribe online. Get the issues, $24.95. Keep up with your favorite sport, whether it be NHRA Mellow Yellow, Lucas Oil Series action. They cover drag radial. They cover it all. Drag Racing Edge magazine.
Hey, what's up, WFO Universe? It's Kathy Fisher. Join me along with Joe Castello every Sunday morning on Motor Trend for Performance TV. That's 8:30 a.m. Eastern. We'll see you then.
Hangstafers, metalworking lubricants. The folks at Hangstafers on board with big racers like Antron Brown and Lucas Oil Series, sportsman racers in the Racing RV's Top Dragster category. And their number one goal at Hangstafers is to increase the productivity in the shop. You got to go to the website and check them out. And so go to hangstafers.com to find out more information. We're happy to have them on board, happy to have them helping our WFO radio listeners in their shop. Hangstafers, metalworking lubricants, trying to make you a little more efficient in the shop.
Now back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
The podcast rolls on WFO Radio. You know, last week's podcast was very different. We kind of changed up, flipped up the script, and it was in between, the second and third race of 4 in a row. And I know we have a lot of people listening that, they're going from race to race, and they understand that, sometimes to get a show on the air in your hands is a great challenge because of the work, but we are always going to try our best to do it. And sometimes they might be a little different. That one sounded a little different, the format. But I didn't really get anybody say like, oh my God, that was so much better. Oh my gosh, that was so much better. And I appreciate you guys just going with the flow, and I appreciate it. There have also been some subjects that have not been discussed that I will discuss in my time. I've even got it written down. Maple Grove for sale. What? Maple Grove for sale. I don't know if I've touched on it just yet. Maple Grove for sale. Going to be very, very interesting to see how that goes. I'll save it for my time, as well as the Tri-Cities and Mark Caruso. Going to be all on there. Mark, can't wait to hear from Mark. But right now, we got to tell you about, as Bob Tasca gets geared up, RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com. Marvin Rodak. Listen, this guy is a drag racer, number one. Like reasons to order some coffee or hot sauce or spice rub from Rodax. 1. Small business, incredible businessman, wonderful person, small business. Simple as that. You could give it to Folgers, or you could give it to a hardworking small business person based in Fort Worth, Texas. 817-924-6821. Which are you going to do? 2, the best stuff. This is high-quality stuff. This is not your average stuff you would get in a vacuum-packed bag, whether it be the coffee or the hot sauces or the spice rub. It's going to set you apart. You got anybody coming over for 4th of July weekend for your big Epping watch party? Everybody coming out while you got NHRA.TV on in the background as you're grilling up some great stuff? Why don't you get some Rodax hot sauces and spice rubs. Go on there, give Marvin a call, 817-924-6821, and ask him for some tips on how to grill up some ribs or steaks. Maybe he'll help you out. Okay, 3, if we're even on 3, or let's call it C. Reason C is the guy is an absolute Renaissance man. And the coffee that you're going to get is going to show up to your door, and it's going to have a most amazing aroma, and it's going to make your day start better. You will be better off for it because you will be enjoying everything you're doing as opposed to the utilitarian task of just putting some coffee in the coffee maker and getting going. Like whatever that means. 817-924-6821. I think you know what it means. It means you should take the time to enjoy everything you're doing and make it a little special for yourself, as opposed to a utilitarian task that's just got to get done. 817-924-6821, like your coffee in the morning, like your grilling, like your hot sauce experience. Give Marvin a call. Tell him you heard about it on WFO Radio. I think you'll be better off. And if you happen to be in the Fort Worth, Texas area, they've got a showroom where they've got some amazing barbecue grills, Primo, Fire Magic, and others. If you're going to buy a grill, a good quality grill, you should get it from Marvin. I had somebody telling me the other day about those ceramic grills and the green one. I was like, Marvin has educated me about the ceramic grills. You need to check out Marvin Rodak. Simple as that. Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com. Check it out, Marvin Rodak. All right. We're going to keep on going, everybody. Keep on rolling here on WFO Radio Podcast. And keep on going. Only 2 Nitro categories this weekend, 2 Mellow Yellow Series categories. We're getting ready for Norwalk. Time to get into it. Funny car style. Joining us now, he is the funny car winner from the Thunder Valley Nationals on Father's Day weekend. More importantly, he breaks through for Ford after their big return to the Mellow Yellow Series and Funny Car Eliminator. Bob Tasca joins us now. Bob, congratulations.
Joe, thank you very much. Exciting weekend for our team and Ford and all those Ford fans out there. It's something we've worked real hard since we came back last year, and just excited to be able to put that all-new Mustang in the winner's circle. But more importantly, I think we've really, put the field on notice. This Motorcraft team has gotten much stronger over the last 3 races since we did our big shakeup going into Richmond. And we're going to be a force to be reckoned with from here on out.
I want to talk about you round by round, but I also want to talk about your 2 crew chiefs, Eric Lane, John Schaffer. And just so you know, we're going to air an interview I did with those 2 in the winner's circle right after your interview. So all the listeners out there are going to get to know these guys and the amazing level of mutual respect that they have for one another. That deal you did with John Force, sending Mike Green, who's kind of a Top Fuel guy, over there to work on Force's Top Fuel car with Austin Prock, and get John Schaffer back, who is mostly a funny car guy, to work on your funny car. It's something that, in our sport, I don't know that I've ever seen that, or if it does happen, it's not as well publicized, but it's a very baseball kind of thing. Like, you need a shortstop, we need an outfielder, let's make a deal, as opposed to you guys like both firing the guys and then them searching for gainful employment. This was kind of cool, maybe a model for the future. Tell us a little bit about that. It obviously worked.
Yeah, hey, Joe, it's exactly how you described it. John and I, it was several races kind of building up to it. We had talked in the staging lanes a few times, and I know we like Green, and obviously Mike has a unbelievably talented crew chief, but a lot of experience, a lot more experience on a dragster. And John wanted to get that Proc dragster running better. And truthfully, I was ready for a change. I was happy with kind of our progress, but I'm not a patient guy, and I wanted more progress, and I really wanted to get away from the 5-disc clutch setup and go to the 6-disc clutch setup, which Eric Lane didn't have a lot of experience with, but John Schaffer did. So John and I, we made a deal. It was a couple of phone calls back and forth that happened really quick after Atlanta, and that's how it went down. And truthfully, I think it's worked out great for both of us. I know on my side, I couldn't be happier. I've always said in this sport, every once in a while, you can catch lightning in a bottle, and I've had a hard time doing that. And it really comes down to the chemistry and the people and the energy. And Eric and John had never worked together. They've known each other, but they haven't worked together on a car. And from the very first meeting, when I flew to Indy to meet with those guys, I could sense the energy between them. And I really had so much respect for Eric, more so now than even when I first hired him, because in this sport, egos can sometimes get the best of you, not just in this sport, but in any business, truthfully. And Eric, he checked his ego at the trailer. We pretty much flushed a year and a half of work down the drains, and we put that 6-disc in with a setup that John Schaffer was very familiar with. And hey, listen, the rest is history. We've gotten better, race in and race out. The car's gotten more consistent, and it led up into Bristol. And what I love about what we did in Bristol is, we performed at a very high level every single round, and we flat out outran them. And that gives you a lot of confidence that we can repeat this. This wasn't a fluke win. This wasn't a luck win. This was a team that performed very well in very challenging conditions. Both as a driver, it's a bumpy track, moves you around. It was a hot track, so the tuners had to make the right call. And then the beat force in the finals, that was a big matchup.
Absolutely. Let's get into the round by round. Then I got some more questions about the program, because I agree, and it's important that you do well, because I don't know if you made a promise to the Ford folks, but I know you pitched them hard, and they want to see results, and you delivered it. We'll talk about that later. But first round, Jim Campbell, uncorking, low ET of the round, number 3 qualifier, so you were strong for the whole event. And first round, 398. It was at that moment that I thought, these guys, second low of the round behind TJ. But nonetheless, one of a few cars in the 3-second zone. It was at that point I said, all right, these guys are here to play.
Yeah, no, hey, listen, I think some people know, but I'll tell you, Joe, we have a little secret weapon in the trailer that's, been a little mentor to Eric and to John, and that's Mike Neff. So, Neff has been helping us through this transition, and he's brought just a mindset to our program. John Schaffer's worked with Mike for many years. Eric's known Mike for many years, and making this transition, I didn't have time to practice. We needed to come out of the box with this 6-disc swinging, and Zippy's been helping us, and he'll pop in the trailer from time to time. He's a DSR employee. There's no secret that Don and I have worked together on a lot of technology, and with Neff not tuning a car right now, he's been an unbelievable secret weapon to our program, and that is the mindset that he's helped instill in Eric and John. When he came in Sunday morning, we're running Campbell, and Campbell's going to make a solid run, period. Those guys go up and down the track, and you can't make a mistake. But then again, you got to run as good as you think you can run on that track, because we wanted lane choice in the second round, and that was important to us. So we went out and we ran a 98, and truthfully, that's what we were trying to run. And the car went out there and executed the plan. Driver did his job, and moved on to the second round,
where Robert Height and Jimmy Prock, Chris Cunningham await. And I always try to tell everybody, I know Reinhart does a great job of it as well, like drivers race drivers. You were racing Robert, but Eric and John were racing against Jimmy and Chris. And it's just kind of an interesting dynamic, the way it all works out. And there's nobody tougher really out there right now than those two. They've been on a tear. They're the points leaders, and you get a shot at them, and you took them down. Now, you said flat out, I don't know exactly what happened on the starting line. Your reaction time was not there, but you won the race. That's all that matters. Sometimes the car saves you. Sometimes you save the car. Take us through the round.
Yeah, if you had a lucky break, that was our lucky break on two fronts. Number one, we didn't want to run 412. We were trying to run a lot better than that. And number two, I had a hard time stopping the car. In fact, Zippy called me out on it. He said, "Why didn't you stop the car in the beam?" And come to find out, the brake handle, it got real soggy. And when I pulled the brake, I hit my chest. I didn't have enough leverage on the brake to stop the car. And it really messed me up. It messed me up. Definitely a self-inflicted wound. But that was an example where, the car did what it needed to do, good enough to win. I was good enough to win, but it really wasn't our best effort of the day. Came back after that round. We'd lost lane choice to Caps, and fixed the brakes. It's funny as a driver, like in that moment, you just don't remember. And then I came back, and Neff called me out on it, which I love because I'm a competitive guy. And hey, listen, we're all human. No one's a machine in these cars, but I want to be as close to a machine as you can. And if you look at my performance, over my career, I'm very good behind the wheel, but I was disappointed. And I'm looking at the slip, and he goes, "You want to know why you suck?" He says, "Because you didn't stop the car." He said, "I don't know." He goes, and that's what I love about him, because hey, Mike's a driver, he's been behind the wheel. And then I said, "Yeah, you're right. I thought it was a quick tree." He goes, "It wasn't a quick tree." He said, "You just were rolling. The car never stopped." And come to find out, we fixed that against Caps. And the guys are in the trailer talking, and Zippy's funny. Zippy, he goes, "I don't want to talk about anything but what we're going to run. There isn't anyone out there that we haven't kicked their ass 100 times." He says, "So we're going to run our race, and we're going to do what we do, and that's how we're going to win this race." And again, it gets back to mindset and energy. So, against Caps, it was just it was a battle. I mean, we both had great reaction times. Both cars performed solid, and we just ripped one off. We ran that 4 flat and, put us on into the final round. And, going into the final round against Force with lane choice, which was something that, we felt was important all day. I was definitely, trying to get lane choice as a driver going in shallow and putting yourself in a position to win by having that slight advantage. And a lot of tracks, I don't think it plays a big advantage, but I think this weekend it did. So, going to the final round, we had lane choice against John. We had a car that ran really good in the semis and really good in E1. So we had 2 good runs to fall back on. If the conditions got better, we were plugging in the 398. Conditions stayed the same. We were going to just repeat what we ran with Caps and let John come and take it. And, everyone was playing up the starting line deal. And, hell, I've been racing Force, my whole career. So, it was no surprise. I mean, John battles. He's taught me, between him and Pedregon, no one's taught me more about driving a race car. And, hell, I could live to be 2,000, and I won't accomplish what John Force has accomplished. So I got the ultimate respect for him and that program. And, he's the guy. People ask me, "Who do you want to race?" I say, "I want to race Force." I mean, he's the guy. He's the guy that you want to race, you want to compete against. I mean, he's a legend, a living legend in the sport, and nobody's done more behind the wheel than he has. So to roll up against him in the final round, I know Schaffer was excited. I mean, it's just, there was a lot of backstories going on in that last round. But, what can I say? We did our jobs. The guys, me, the crew chiefs, we did our jobs, and we get the win light. And more importantly, we got a race car right now that, hey, listen, I've had many cars in my career that were feared by no one. And I love having a race car that puts a little fear in people when you roll up to the starting line. And, we're not there yet. We got a long way to go. I mean, obviously Robert right now is, the class of the field with, his performance to this point in the season. But it takes weekends like we're having to put us in that position. And the good news is we're right where we want to be, Joe. I mean, it's early in the season. We're getting our program together. We got our tune-up really, really starting to come together. We're going to move up the points. I mean, that's my goal, is try to get into that top 5 going into Indy. And then the points reset, and then it's anybody's ball game. You've seen guys win in the 10 spot. You've seen guys win in the 1 spot. So it really comes down to just hitting your stride at the right time and running for that championship.
Very exciting, Bob. You mentioned the points. You're sitting 9th in the points, 416 back, but a decent gap on 10th and a very considerable gap on 11th, which is most important to make that top 10. But I agree, your trajectory is upwards. You said a couple of things there that I want to double back on. First of all, Neff. Neff, I've interviewed him many times, and being interviewed by, let's call it an outsider, I hate the word, but it's true, about what's going on inside the team. Of course, you're going to be a little protective, and he chooses his words carefully. I wouldn't call him a smack talker or a boisterous personality. And what you described is a different kind of character now. And I'm wondering, like inside closed doors with the team, when the wagons are circled and he's motivating his, the people he's advising. He's not your crew chief, Eric and John, but he knows them and they respect him, and he's firing you up, and that just sounds really cool.
Yeah, no, hey, listen, I've known Neff for a long time. He's not one to brag about himself, and maybe I can do a little bit for him, but he's just confident. He's just a confident confident guy and not cocky. There's a big difference between cocky and confidence, okay? Cocky will get you in trouble. Confidence will bring success, whether it's on a racetrack or in business. And I'm a confident guy. I'm not cocky. I'm confident. And I like to go into situations knowing that I'm going to win, okay? I mean, who wants to go into a situation knowing they're going to lose? And, I just think, being around Mike for a long time, I've always wanted to race with Mike. And he's been a great mentor to Eric and John, getting this program rolling. Trust me, Eric and John can run this race car with their eyes closed. They know how to run a race car. They know how to tune a race car. But I'm in a point in my season where when you make a wholesale change, and people I don't think appreciate, the only thing the same in that car leaving Atlanta going to Richmond was me. That's it. There was nothing else the same. The fuel system, the superchargers, the clutch systems, the clutch flow. I mean, everything was completely modified, and we hit the ground running. So, having a guy like Neff in our corner, and it's just been exciting. I tell you, it's kind of revitalized me a little bit as a driver because, I've never really been challenged. I like people kind of picking at me to say, hey, listen, you got to do this. It's better, and I'm all for stuff like that. So I really think the best is yet to come for our program. I know John and Eric and the guys are pumped up, and we just got a great chemistry. And, I've said it many times, you can feed that race car $100 bills and you'll win nothing. Money, I don't care how much money you throw at it, it means nothing. You got to get the right people, and then you got to get the right chemistry, because you can have really smart people that don't want to work together, and it'll make it worse, actually. But when you get really smart people that have a great chemistry, which is what we have right now, great things can happen. So I'm very optimistic, excited to get to Norwalk. And then I got my home race coming up in Epping. And then, you're going to blink your eye, and Indy's going to be upon us. And, the teams that have, the momentum rolling into Indy are the teams that are going to really run for the championship.
Absolutely. All right, a couple questions. Don't want to take all day with you, Bob. I know you are a very busy guy, but I got two angles I want to get your opinion on. One, the John Force factor. You have paid great tribute to John, as has everybody. He's backed up against this milestone, 150, when he gets there. I'm hoping it is something that will be paid attention to beyond the sport of drag racing. It's a major milestone. I think about Richard Petty when he hit 200. Everybody paid attention, even if they didn't really know what NASCAR was. It's like, whoa, that's a big number. 150 is a huge number. At the same time, you got your own deal going. You got all these former John Force-connected people like Eric, like John, like yourself in a way, like Mike Neff in a way. And it had to be an interesting deal that you guys are united to stop it on this given day.
Well, hey, listen, I didn't want to be the asterisk in the John Force legacy. I mean, he's going to get the 150. I have no doubt about that. I just don't want to be in the other lane. So, that's an unbelievable milestone. I mean, I can't even imagine, what that's going to be like for him. But obviously, what an unbelievable career he's had, and he's still swinging with the best of it. I mean, that guy rolls up to the line, and you better be on your A game because he'll put you to sleep if you're not. But yeah, no, hey, listen, we're out there not just to stop John Force. We're out there to stop whoever's in the lane next to us, and we're going to start it all over again here next weekend.
And the final question I want to ask you, as a Ford, store owner, a Ford family, someone that is connected to the Ford brand in ways that, many of the other dealers are not. Your father and your grandfather have had such great connections, and you've spoken about them over the years, and we know it. And, even speaking with your uncle about the Cobra Jet, like, this is a family that bleeds Ford, and you guys are, it's very obvious. But for you to go as a Tasca to Ford and say to them, as a major multinational worldwide corporation, you guys need to spend money with me in Nitro Drag Racing and the National Hot Rod Association because of these reasons, and I'm the guy to do it. You used to do it before. You should do it again. We want you to come back for all of these reasons, to pitch them hard and have them say, okay, Bob, we're with you. Here's what we're going to do for you. Go do it. That level of, I hate the word pressure, but whatever it is, responsibility. Let's call it responsibility, Bob, to take that upon yourself and have them say yes, and now it's on, and you're out there racing. The results are coming in bits, but like that had to be a very intense situation for you, Bob the person, Bob the businessman, Bob the Tasca family member. That had to be very, very intense.
Hey, listen, I put it all on the line. I mean, I really did. I mean, they were in the sport, they left, and I put it all on the line. I told them point blank, I said, I'll win and I'll compete for a championship. I said, I'll win and compete for a championship. I know how to do it. You know, I've learned a lot since the last time you guys were in. I need a world-class body. I need your brightest engineer, aerodynamic minds in the company to give me a body that is competitive with the other bodies that are out in the class. And that's what we did all year last year. I mean, literally started the team from scratch, worked on the body program and debuted. And there's absolutely pressure. But you want to know something, Joe? No one holds me to a higher standard than I hold myself. And when you think like that, it really isn't pressure. It's just how I live. And winning was the only option that I had on the table, was winning. I mean, that's the only reason why I'm out here. I don't have to be out here racing. I do it because I love it. I do it because I love Ford. I love the Ford dealers. And most importantly, I love the Ford fans and how much energy they have. And trust me, they were craving this win more than I ever could crave it, to get a Ford back in the winner's circle and have a team that can go out there and compete for a championship. So it's been a real honor of mine and a privilege. I mean, I'm just so proud to represent Ford Motor Company and all the dealers and all those Ford fans out there. I mean, it's been in our family since the 60s, when my grandfather coined that phrase, win on Sunday, sell on Monday. And to be carrying that legacy on in a sport that I love. And oh, by the way, another big reason why Ford came back, as much as they love Bob Tasca, they looked at the data. And the NHRA fans, the base has grown, attendance has grown. The TV package with Fox is fantastic from when they left with ESPN. And they started to see these kind of data points popping up. And then, like anything else, Ford is in this for only one reason, and that's to win. That's to win. And when we won this past weekend, you know, phone calls from Edsel Ford, emails from Henry Ford III and Bill Ford, the chairman of the board. I mean, what people don't realize, you know, Ford's a big multinational corporation. It's run by people that love automobiles and they love winning. I mean, Henry Ford started the company because he won a race. And when you talk to the Ford family and the executives that were such an integral part of bringing this program back to life, and just listening in their voice, how excited they were to see us win this weekend, but more importantly, how great this car is starting to run. I mean, it's an awesome feeling when I get in that race car and know that I got the support of the Ford Oval behind me and all those fans. So hey, listen, we're excited. We got some momentum that's building behind this team, and I truly believe the best is yet to come, because we're going to be swinging real hard from now on in.
Very exciting. Great to hear. And that's how our sport is going to continue to grow as well, with fan bases like the Ford fan base and the people behind you, taking advantage, watching you go out, win races, putting it out there to more people who, maybe they got a Mustang, but they don't know exactly that there's one that runs 330 miles per hour, but now they will. Bob, great job. Congratulations. Huge victory. I know there's more that lie ahead, and you get an opportunity really just days from now, Norwalk, Ohio, the home of the Bader family, some of the greatest showmen in drag racing. I'm excited to see you out there. Good luck.
Thanks, Joe. See you soon. Bye.
Bob Tasca with us here on WFO Radio. Great job. Fun. The guy's a great interview, obviously. And years ago, when Bob first dove into the sport, you could see that he had star power and what it takes. He's got all those Ford fans behind him, the family's rich legacy with the brand, and going out there getting the job done. Really cool stuff. And it runs in the family, too. Earlier this year, we had Carl, his uncle, on Factory Stock Podcast, which hopefully you guys are all subscribed to, and he was just as good. He was fantastic. You want to go and subscribe and check that out. But as promised, I caught up with the winning crew chiefs in the winner's circle at Thunder Valley right after the race. John Schaffer, Eric Lane, hanging out. It was clearing out. Everybody was heading back to the pits to celebrate. These two stuck it out with me to give me the understanding so that you could have the understanding of the chemistry and the team on their first victory. Check it out. Eric Lane, John Schaffer, Winner's Circle, Bristol Dragway. WFO Radio here in the Winner's Circle with Eric Lane, co-crew chief of Bob Tasca's winning Motorcraft Ford Mustang. And, of course, John Schaffer is here as well. I said, Eric, we got to do an interview. He's like, bring John in here, too. And so let's talk to both of you guys. The monumental task of breaking through for a first victory. It's very special, and you guys just did it. So just lay it out there. How's it feel?
This is an amazing experience. I mean, this team is, they had a great team. When I came over here, we changed a few things, and it just all started gelling and working out. And every race, we changed some major stuff. We changed stuff that these guys wouldn't even change going into Q1. They test first. We go into Q1. Clutch changes, cam changes, you name it. And it's all starting to come together. And really proud of, Eric Lane and all this team. And Mike Neff's been helping us out, too. So it's all actually really gelling. Everybody's getting along, having fun. I mean, this is pretty good. It's a good opportunity for me and all these guys, and it doesn't get much better than this, so we just got to keep it up.
Did you know Eric, before you guys worked together? I mean, you knew him. Were you guys friends, buddies? Had you worked together?
Actually, he worked on Robert Hyde's car, and I worked on John Force's car back in early 2000s, and he actually taught me a lot of stuff on how to build chassis and wiring them up and stuff like that. So me and him worked back in the Yorba Linda shop, and back in John Force racing days, stuff like that. So he's been around for a long time, and we've known each other and stuff like that. This is the first time we worked together, and I love working with him. He's a great guy. We get along. He's very smart, and good things are come, I think.
Chemistry is everything.
That's my opinion. I don't know. I mean, you can say that you call all the shots, you can do this, you can do that, and I don't know. My personal opinion is like Bob said, he says, I want certain people to look at in the eyes, and John Schaffer is one of those guys. And that's something that we were looking for, and I'm not going to lie to you. It's been a rough patch, for the last year and a half, 2 years. We started the team, building a shop, doing all these things, but sometimes, you have to have the right chemistry. And when I went from Forces to Tobler, there's a chemistry that you find, and it doesn't matter what you do. And that's where I stand right now is that, the chemistry is I do what I do. John Schaffer does what he does. We get a little bit in. We get our input from Zippy. Zippy's a bad mofo. I'm not going to lie to you. John Schaffer's a bad mofo, and I've been learning a lot of stuff. But the thing is our boys, they deserve a win. And Ford deserves a win. Bob Tasca deserves a win. We've been putting a lot of money towards it. We've been putting a lot of stuff in, and I give a lot of props to John Schaffer. He's showed me a lot of respect since he showed up. He's not ran me over. There's a lot of things that you always hear these things about. He's come in, he's looked at me and said, hey, what about this? What about that? And I'm here to learn. And that's the thing is I'm not a big 6-disc guy. I'm a 5-disc guy, is obviously with Ron Tobler and all that. So, I'm learning the way that goes along with this, and Zippy and John Schaffer showing me the way. But the bottom line is we need to win. And whatever it takes, we're going to win. And what's cool about it is Schaffer and I were having a great fucking time. Excuse my language.
That's fine.
But
we got a way to handle that on WFO.
Yeah, but the point is we're having a good time, and that's what and that's where everybody doesn't understand it. There's got to be a chemistry. Just you gotta have fun. Right? You got to have fun, and that's him and I are on the same boat. We went to dinner last night, and our goal, I'm not going to lie to you, in the last 4 weeks, is go to dinner on Sunday night. Because we've been out at the racetrack until 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. So last night he looked at me and he goes, are we going to dinner? I go, yeah, we're going to dinner. Because we have our own goals, personal goals as crew chiefs and as crew guys. And last night we went to dinner. We had a nice dinner, sitting having a beer. We relaxed. We did our deal. We come out today and there was some confidence. And I'm not going to lie to you. That's what it's about, is the chemistry. And I'm excited. And I'm not going to lie to you. I'm really excited.
Truthfully. Well, you guys are winners now. It's just a different thing. It's amazing how from, almost and maybe in potential and who knows to you won and Ford's happy and Bob's happy and all of these different things.
That's the biggest thing. We need to make the sponsors happy right now, and this is we want to make this long-term deal. We want to be out here for years to come, and this is a huge camel offer back, and it's just that's the biggest thing. Is just once you win, hopefully they come a little bit better, you know.
And I got to give props. We had 4 guys that have never won a race. And
now lay it out. Let's hear.
They've never won.
DeAndre never won.
DeAndre, Kyle, Tyler, and Todd. There's 4 guys that have never won a race, not a top fuel, not anything. And these guys had worked they've worked and they've not complained. And that's what the best part is. I mean, that's the first thing that John came back to the pit and he looked at me and he goes, how many of these guys have won? And I said, everybody's won except for 4. And to us, that is huge because these guys, they put their heart and soul to it.
What did you do to them?
Well, we might have thrown a little bit of beer on them, but
is that the tradition?
We put them to the ringer the past few weeks. Every race we change stuff, and they're like, okay, I guess we'll go with that. And we're like, you trust us. Just keep going with it, you guys. Keep it up, keep working, and it'll pay off.
Well, it is a great moment. This is a great moment. This is why we do WFO, to capture moments like this. But as great as this moment is, looking forward now, you guys have proven you can win, and you did it in a very impressive fashion. You beat Tobler. You guys beat Forrest in the final. Robert. Like, that's just a good day. You guys were going down from the 3-second run in the first round. Like, oh, okay, you guys are here to play. What about the remainder of the season? How do you take this energy? I know Bob wants to contend. You're climbing up the points, the countdown, all of that stuff. Anything can happen in this sport, so how are you going to handle from here on forward?
I mean, you got to be humble with all this. We're going to take it one race and one run at a time. You know, we're going to go next race and try to qualify. Once we qualify, we'll try to go, qualify better in the top half. Then once we do that, we'll try to go rounds, I mean, we're not expected to go out and win every race by any means right now. We're going out there and just do what we can, make the top 10, and we'll see how it all works out,
Well, I agree with John. I mean, I think we need to focus at the top 10, and that's what we look at. But we got to run with it. It's just like Tobler and any of the rest of them. You get on a run, you got to run with it. John and I's confidence is huge. With Zippy's help, he's been unbelievable helping us. I mean, John Schaffer's confidence is huge, and the guys' confidence is huge, and you got to run with it, And if we got 6, 7, 8 races to the deal, we're going to win every bit of it, and that's what our goal is. And now that these guys are hungry, they understand what it's about. They're sitting in the winner's circle, having beers, hanging out, and doing it for Ford and Motorcraft and all the rest of our sponsors. That's what we do. I mean, we got to be hungry. We got to do what we need to do, and now it's going to be even worse. But we gotta be humble, like John said, but at the same time, we gotta enjoy it, and we gotta strive for it even more.
There you go, guys. Congratulations. Huge moment. Winning crew chiefs. First win with Bob Tasca. First win for Ford. Everybody is super excited, but can't wait to see what you guys do. John, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Joe.
And, of course, Eric. How's Kelly?
Oh, gee.
How's Kelly?
She's in Pennsylvania, with the horses, So, no, they're all doing well. They're in Pennsylvania. My daughter's excited about her new horse. But, yeah, Kelly's doing fantastic. We're all doing very well.
Awesome. Thank you. Congratulations. Huge moment.
Thank you. Bye.
Eric Lane, John Schaffer, both with us in the winner's circle at Thunder Valley. And, listen, Eric Lane is one of the good guys out there. First of all, there's a lot of good guys out there. It has been, what is it? It's a great and wonderful experience to get to know a lot of the people who are names on your screen, right? You'll see the name Eric Lane. You'll see the name Ron Tobler. You see the name John Schaffer. You see the name Brian Karate. You see these guys, and I could name more. I could name many of them. It has been just one of the after effects of working as an announcer on the Mellow Yellow Series Tour to get to build some relationships with these people. But in addition to that, know what they're all about. See them interact, see them in tough spots, see them in good spots, see what they're all about. And I can certify to you guys that these guys are good guys. They're out there trying to make a living, pursuing their dreams, what they've loved. They're passionate about racing, and they're putting themselves in really tough situations. Eric Lane talking about how late the guys worked, that they were there till like 1 a.m., multiple nights, just redoing, building, doing everything. And to see it pay off, like every team that works so hard deserves to get that payoff someday. It's unfortunate, though. You don't get what you deserve sometimes. You got to go out there and take it. And this weekend they took it, and they earned it, and they got to experience it. 4 of those guys had never won. Congratulations to them. Just great stuff. DeAndre got big win. So many. Big win. Congratulations, guys. You deserve it. You deserve it. But hey, you know what? That was last week. Isn't that what you're supposed to say in NHRA? That was last week. That's over. It's time for Norwalk, and I really like it. I really loved watching what is happening out there at the NHRA, and that's another subject for my time after Mark Caruso joins us, which is the Facebook. Oh, stay off the Facebook. See, I shouldn't even pollute the show with negativity like that. Maybe I won't. Maybe I won't. How about that? All right, but right now I got to tell you about HusseyPerformance.net. Quality copper head gaskets, but that is understating it. You're an engine builder. You know an engine builder. You're going to have an engine built. These are the people who I'm speaking with. Yeah, that narrows it down a little bit. Copper head gaskets. Whose do you use? If you're not using Hussey, then I'm talking to you. Hussey Performance has got a long and high-quality list of customers and clients. They go on and they have great success. Championships have been won. The Bartone brothers can use anybody's. They choose Hussey. Quality copper head gaskets. Whether you've got a tractor pull engine, whether you've got a turbocharged Honda, whatever you've got, a nitro burning 500 cubic inch Hemi, they can help you. Hussey stocks gaskets in increments of 1,000th of an inch, and if they don't stock it, they'll make it. They're the most accurate on the market because they have 40 years of experience in the copper industry and know exactly how and where to purchase copper. The tolerance is half a thou, half a thousandth of an inch, a thousandth of an inch. Break an inch into a thousandth of an inch. Does it take a long time? Less than a week. Will they get it to you at the track? Next day shipping is available. Do they check them before they go out? They check every single gasket. David does it personally. What more can I say? If you want to have a relationship with your copper head gasket provider, HusseyPerformance.net is who you should choose. 724-318-8292. That's David Allen at HusseyPerformance.net. When we come back, it's going to be my time. Final segment here on NHRA Nitro Podcast.
Everybody, listen carefully.
Now you listen to me. Why do you listen? WFO, you guys are number one. Honest. Listen.
You've been listening to WFO Radio for a long time now, and you hear these racers all talking about how much they spend, how much they travel, how hard they work, all to accelerate really, really quickly. Well, Frank Hawley and Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School has figured a way for you to do it at a fraction of the price, the work, the effort, the time. It is a fun experience. It's called the Dragster Adventure. Go to frankhawley.com and investigate. They travel the country. They're coming to a track near you. They put on a program. You make 3 runs, a half track and 2 full track passes. No ride along. You drive it. You are the driver. It's called the Dragster Adventure. Go to frankhawley.com to find out more and tell them you heard it on WFO.
Hey, this is Scott Palmer, driver of the NHRA Cat Spot Litter Top Fuel Dragster. Do you have a cat? Go to catspotlitter.com. Order it today. All natural product made out of coconuts, 100% biodegradable. All you NHRA fan cat owners, support our team. Go to catspotlitter.com.
If you're looking for extra horsepower, check out wilsonmanifolds.com, the leader in intake manifold and nitrous oxide development. They've set records and won championships in just about every series in professional racing. Sprint Cup, Nationwide, Camping World Truck Series, NHRA Pro Stock, right up to the Nitro classes. If you're looking for extra horsepower, check out the leader in intake and nitrous development at wilsonmanifolds.com.
This is Jeff Rice, a.k.a. Deep and Hot. I just want to let you know that NHRA Nitro is probably the best coverage of NHRA drag racing, period. How can you not like a 3.5-hour broadcast with all the winners specifically for drag racing? WFO rules the airwaves.
Now, back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
Final segment, NHRA Nitro. I know what you might be thinking. Hey, Joe, what about Mountain Motor Pro Stock? What about Mickey Thompson Top Fuel Harley? And the answer is yes, you are right. I have extremely limited time, and it's just not happening this week. The good news is we can catch up with those guys in the future, perhaps. I want to be straight with you guys. I want to be straight with you guys about what's going on behind the scenes so you can understand. I haven't done a WFO ignition program in a little while. It's been a minute, as the kids would say. And it's just not possible. With the travel between races 4 in a row, we do what we can do. Our Patreons, on the other hand, they've gotten a little something every once in a while. And that's who supports my time. Once we get to that, but right now, Hangstiffers, metalworking lubricants, some people I want to tell you about because I love what they're doing in the sport. Hangstiffers, their job is to make your metalworking process better and easier. They do it by making your metalworking process happen better and easier. They want to increase the life of your tools and the quality of your work. They've been doing it since 1937. Yeah, this is my new commercial cadence. Slower, more deliberate, pausing after big important facts. For instance, Hangstiffers has service all throughout the world, over 100 affiliates. They have a technical sales team to service and support your needs. They offer the best value available. They lower production costs. They reduce waste. They improve surface quality and extend tool life. So you need to give them a call. 800-433-LUBE. That's in North America. 800-433-LUBE if you're outside of the United States. 856-468-0216. That's Hangstiffers.com. Hangstiffers Laboratories, supporting Matt Sackman and Zat Sackman and sportsman racers who are climbing the ladder. On board with Antron Brown, but used by most in the industry. Check them out, Hangstiffers.com, 800-433-LUBE, and tell them you heard about it on WFO. All right, time to get into my time. But we're going to start off with what was definitely the most important element from the weekend. We are going to connect with Mark Caruso, who went into the trap, went into the net in his E3 Sparkplugs Pro Modified. Mark joins us now. Mark, welcome to WFO Radio. We would love to be speaking with you as a race winner. I know that's going to happen in the future, but right now we just want to know, how you're doing and after that wild ride.
Thanks for having me, Joe. I'm doing okay. I'm obviously a little bit sore. Left the track and went to the emergency, the room there in Bristol, Tennessee, and they had given me a CT scan and saw a fracture in my lower lumbar L3 in my spine. Fitted me for a back brace and felt that I was good enough to go home. Unfortunately, when I got home yesterday, I went to my primary care physician and found out that not only did I fracture that L3, but it's also been crushed 45%. So next step is I'm waiting to see a neurosurgeon and see where we go from here.
Oh, my goodness. Just horrific. But at the same time, the ride you went on was just, wild to watch. I was on the starting line. I've seen the videos. I don't know if you have wanted to even see the video, but your experience of going up that hill into the net, into the trap, just horrific. And, I'm happy to be able to be speaking with you.
Well, that makes two of us. Some people may not be able to relate to this, but I'm sure most drivers can. There's a real big difference in the feeling of the negative G's when two chutes deploy versus one chute. And Q1, I actually had only one chute come out and the other one tangled and didn't deploy. And it's a feeling like as if you don't have any chutes. And I was able to stop just fine with the brakes came off and saw that the one chute was tangled, and it was basically the same feeling there in Q4. Went to, throw the chutes and didn't feel it, and I just immediately thought, okay, well, one must have tangled again. I only have one. Went to get on the brake pedal, and the brake pedal went right to the floor. And then the next thing I tried to do was pump the brakes, and probably about the third pump, I was already, it was quite evident that I was going to be going in the sand trap. So I just immediately tried to get myself centered on that and held on for the ride.
And that's a protocol that, I would hope, as someone who has like a minor license, a super comp, super gas style license, anybody that gets in a race car, you have to think about that. Is that something that you have, rehearsed in your mind, and now you got to put yourself through it? And I know that there are drivers like that. That is the most critical moment of any driver. Like, you got to point yourself in there and make a decision and go with it and live with it, whatever happens.
Yeah, that was basically it. The biggest thing, that was going through my mind once I knew it was quite evident that I was going through is I just wanted to try and stay conscious. God forbid that, the car caught fire, because I knew the impact was going to obviously be in the front, right where the fuel cell was. But I was lucky enough, the fuel cell did catch fire, but I was fortunate enough that it actually broke off and went into the hills. And the fire, was contained to that area and not the car. But the other scary moment was the catch net grabbed a hold of the injector hat and brought it through the windshield, right into the car with me. So that was probably about the scariest moment after the impact was, seeing that injector hat coming through the windshield.
Wow. Well, yeah, I can imagine, but I can't really imagine. And this is like, just to hear you go through it, and obviously we are thrilled that you were able to get out and get some treatment. And what is your plan with the sport to come back? This is one of these situations where your family has been so passionate about drag racing, and you guys are all involved, and you've been diving into the category of pro mod and others, just kind of climbing the ladder and loving it. And moments like this, where's your head at now looking forward?
Well, unfortunately, there's, a few hurdles that we're going to have to try to overcome. First and foremost is it looks like I'm going to be in a back brace for about 12 weeks. At the minimum, possibly longer if I do indeed have to have surgery. I'm being told by my primary care physician that it's a 50-50 chance whether or not I'll have to have surgery. I'll know more on that this week when I see the neurosurgeon. But they're not even letting me drive my everyday car at this point, let alone think about getting cleared to get back in the race car. So that's going to be the first hurdle. The second hurdle is finding out, just how bad the car really is, if it's a complete total or if it just needs a front half, or what we're looking at getting the car repaired. So we've got some hurdles to cross before, I don't plan on walking away from the sport unless for some reason doctor says I have to. I don't think that's going to be the case. I'm really hoping it's not, because like you mentioned, it's a family thing for us. We're very passionate about it. I grew up at the racetrack with my dad. My kids have grown up at the racetrack with me, and so it would be pretty disheartening if I wasn't able to get back in the car.
What kind of outpouring of support have you received? I know at the track everybody was just thrilled that you were able to, proceed and get treatment and head out. But obviously we want to see you back. But I know that this is the times like this, drag racing is a family. It's a community. It's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on, so that your fans and your friends can hear directly from you without you having to make hundreds of phone calls, et cetera, and so on. This is the worst moment in drag racing, obviously, for any one person.
Yeah, no, the texts, the phone calls, Racer for Christ showing up at the hospital, and I was at the hospital. The safety safari, literally was there the second I hit the wall. I literally looked and they were there. And they were fantastic. Everybody's been great. I've gotten phone calls and texts from some of the manufacturers that we do business with, just telling me anything we need to get the car back together. Just let them know. It's it's been nice. It's been very nice to see that the community, the racing community, rally around us and make sure that that we can get back to it just as soon as we possibly can.
Do you have a message for your fans out there?
I just appreciate the support, and I'm sorry they didn't get to see me on race day.
Yes, we are as well. We are as well. That was, unfortunate because you guys were qualified. It was a good day at the races. Like, you had a quick and fast car, and an opportunity to go out there and perform well, as you always seem to do when you qualify.
Yeah, I've been very, very, very fortunate and blessed. Lee White, who heads up our racing program for my father and I, it has just really, really gave us a great program. With the help of Al Dillis and Jamie and Renee Noonan and Mark Mickey and just a slew of other people. I mean, we're just very, very fortunate that that Lee has given us a great program, and that we, when we show up, we're able to show out,
well,
so to speak.
Yeah,
So.
and you have, and I'm really hoping, and I'm confident that you will in the future. Listen, I want to thank you, but most importantly, I want to wish you well, you and the family. The extended drag racing family is with you and behind you, and moments like this, we've had a couple of them lately where we've had to go through and see our friends and family go through tough moments. But I'm very happy that you're able to get us up to speed, and we are obviously riding along with you for your recovery.
Well, I greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate it. Can't thank everyone enough for their outpouring of support and concern.
Well, Mark, thank you very much. All the best to the family. And, what can we say? I hope your recovery goes as rapidly as possible, and we see you back out there as soon as is recommended by your doc.
Look forward to it, Joe. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mark. Mark Caruso with us here on WFO Radio, My Time segment, tail end of the show. And what can you say? What can you say about what went down other than, thank goodness, Mark is okay? And there are some people out there. If you watch NHRA's social media feed, this week we did a swing through the Pro Mod pits and spoke with Todd Tutterow and spoke with Alex Laughlin. We did not catch up with Stephen Whiteley. Jeremy Ray was not there. But we wanted to make sure everybody out there who follows the sport on a regular basis was up on what went down, and that the teams were trying to be back, Todd Tutterow and Alex Laughlin in particular, that they had made it back, and just to shine a spotlight on that. And it's just the worst situation when someone that is trying to make their way in the sport has a setback like this. And thank goodness Mark is okay, and was just kind of chatting him on social media because he posted on my "Why is everybody so negative?" post. And was like, wow, Mark is posting on social media. I'm going to reach out to him, and we ended up inviting him on the show. And he's on, and I appreciate that. Just some, so happy that he's around. So happy that he's with us, and he's got a goal of coming back. Because the Caruso family, I spoke with Papa Joe this week. He's a Papa Joe. I got a Papa Joe. How can I not? How can I not? Thanks to Mark for coming on. I really appreciate it. Now, let's talk about the negativity post. I said I wasn't going to pollute the show, but now I've gone right into it. We had a power surge at the track, okay? Join me, everybody, in, let's call it, I've been having a conversation with Brian Loans, ongoing, and others. The people who are working in the sport and like kind of laying their I don't want to say it's just work, but putting in everything they've got into it. Let's put it that way, okay? It's a job, but putting everything they've got into it. I don't want to compare it to things like the military, where your life is on the line. So I don't want to overstate it. I don't want to put hyperbole out there. But the people that are involved in this sport right now, on the television side, on the broadcast side, certainly the in-venue side and the NHRA.TV side, everybody that I communicate with, I can certify to you, based on my personal reputation of always trying to tell the truth as best as I can, is working really hard to put together a really good quality product as best as is possible every single week. And every once in a while, you go on the Facebook and you just see people putting out total inaccurate facts. Like a week ago, there was a gentleman talking about how Factory Stock Showdown has become an all-Camaro show, and it's just like Pro Stock because NHRA doesn't want Ford or Dodge to win. And he put that out there as if it was a fact. And people are reading it as if it's a fact. And nobody wants to engage with that person because you just get sucked down into the mud. So what do? Do you allow the ignorance to continue to exist and that person to just have their opinion that is wrong and inaccurate and damaging to the sport? As a casual person proceeds on by and says, oh, really? That person thinks it's boring. Maybe I think it's boring. Or do you fight back a little bit? And for a long time, it's bad policy to fight back a little bit. But in some conversations that I've had, there's some people, they want to fight back a little bit. They want to fight back a little bit. And I saw that the Factory Stock page said, Ford's won the first 3 races of the year, and Ford's lead the points. Your position is inaccurate. I immediately typed the weights. Others came along and informed this person, hey, guy, you're just putting out a bunch of stuff that's absolutely wrong. And here's information. And it was all done in a very respectful, super over-the-top, extremely respectful way. And so, fast forward to the power spike. I'm out of work, man. I'm out of there. We got the race in. We did it. It happened. It's over. We had race winners. Show's over. But then the next morning you go on there and every group I am a member of, and I'm a member of a lot of groups, ground pounding funny cars and Nitro fans, all these things. Every group had a headline of somebody blaming NHRA and their people for somehow or Fox somehow desiring to take the show off the air in the middle of the show. What are we talking about here? There's a show that NHRA is putting on Fox Sports 1. A lot of money is being spent and being earned by the show being on. But somehow, those entities, if you were to read the comments on the Facebook, somehow those entities are conspiring together at the cost of money earned and money spent and their show to take it off the air on purpose for various reasons. 1, to force you to buy NHRA TV. 2, which was also off the air due to the power spike. 2, because they're bad people and they hate drag racing and they're deliberately trying to run it into the ground. What are we talking about here? At some point, it's just pure and total ignorance. For what purpose? To vent? To ventilate? Yeah, I feel angry that I can't be watching the sport that I love, NHRA drag racing, so I'll go into a public forum and I'll burn it to the ground. That'll make me feel better. None of it was accurate, by the way, and you're not going to hurt the feelings of anyone. But at what point do the rational people of the world push back? And so I'm putting that out there now. At what point do the rational people of the world push back? You tell me, because I can't spend all day long going on every single post, connecting my personal Facebook to these people and explaining to them, and with all due respect, sir, to you and your opinion, I do not believe that you have the accurate information because millions of dollars is spent and millions of dollars is earned to get this show on the air. So by not putting the show on the air, as you have suggested, it would be counterproductive to our overall task. Please consider this, with all due respect, sir. And then the person, comes back at you with POS and S and ah. But if you do not push back, it becomes true. We have learned recently, if you do not push back, whatever you do not push back against becomes true in the mind of some. And it is a quandary. It is a mystery wrapped in a puzzle surrounded by an enigma. How to handle these 50 people, 30 people, who, when things go wrong in the little NHRA broadcast universe, they just ignite a Molotov cocktail and throw it into the public domain, and whether it be true or otherwise, they're creating reality. I don't like it. I don't like engaging with it, but I did a little bit. I just made a little post. A lot of people, they posted back, and there it is. So how about we consider pushing back, or how about we just ignore it? I don't know. You tell me, Joe at WFORadio.com. What do you think? And I really don't think that this, honestly, I have really thought, as great as social media is, I work in social media. We broadcast in social media. We do little shows like a lot of my broadcast career is NHRA's social media page, where I get to connect with other drag racing fans and show what I'm passionate about and thrilled about. A lot of it is through that. Maybe this social media stuff is bad for our health. Maybe it's bad because I don't want to say things like the good people, but I will. The good people are just silent all the time. Just silent. It's too smart to push back against the bad people, to get sucked down into the, quicksand that is arguing and debating with somebody on the web. And the quote-unquote, let's call them bad people, even though they're probably wonderful. They would never say something like that to your face. They would never see someone who works so hard on the television show dare suggest that they did it on purpose to screw over the sport. What are we talking about? But they'll go to the Facebook, man, and they'll light it on fire. It's bad. Bad news. Don't know what to do about it. Challenge. There you go. And now it's on my time. But I think this is a public service announcement. So let's switch to more fun things, like Maple Grove is being sold. Uh-oh. The number I've seen was $8 million. Here's my opinion. If somebody in the world of drag racing, where we got these big-time epic players, can't come up with $8 million to buy Maple Grove, something's up. Just my opinion now. We lost Englishtown already. That is a major track in the Northeast. If you lose Maple Grove, and I know they put out the whole thing, we intend to run it until then, and we're just putting out a feeler and all of that. We want to do what we can do to shepherd it. There's a statement out there. You can find it. This is an opinion segment, man. I don't need to be absolutely accurate. I can paraphrase. They want to continue to be in business. With all the millionaires and billionaires that are in and around and floating around the sport, somebody needs to step up and buy Maple Grove and ensure it continues to be a drag strip and continues to grow. It is a race that every year is sold out, regardless, or very close to sold out. If it rains, if there's locusts, they show up at the Grove. It is in the Northeast. It has a national event. It is near the Philadelphia market. How do you let that go? You better not. You better not. Something's got to happen. Well, what is it? Why don't you buy it, Joe? Why don't you buy it? Put your money where your mouth is, Mr. Podcast Host. Why don't you go dip into that? Yeah, are you crazy? We're not talking about me. I'm not the kind of person who's got the horsepower to do that stuff. But even at my very low level, real estate education, to that piece of property, for whatever it is, in the Northeast, in the middle of Maple Grove, in the middle of Amish country, you buy it, you run it, and then you've got an investment property for 50 years from now. Give it to your kids. Let them do what, who knows, we're not driving cars anymore 50 years. Who knows what it's going to be like? But you save it now. I'm very interested to watch this story. Who knows? Maybe it's already sold, and I didn't even see that. That's possible. It would be bad form, but given the fact that Norwalk is basically tomorrow for me, you understand. Finally, I believe it's finally, did the Tri-Cities trifecta. spent a little time in Bristol. Went to the top of the Bristol Hotel, had a couple of cocktails up there. Good times. Walked a little around there downtown, ate some food, downtown Bristol. Really neat. Pure Americana to me. Old school. Needed some more life, though. Everything is there. If we're having an economic revival and that's it, good. It's cool. It should be more, though, because you need a couple more places and you can't be closed at 7:30 on a Thursday. There should be little bars and live music, and there was a couple places, and it was cool. But there were a lot of big stores that were just not open. It was a really nice spot. I could see a fan fest down there in the future. Really nice spot. A lot of fun. Then went to Johnson City. I've spent a lot of time in Johnson City. The Yeehaw Brewery. I went to some, Southern Swank or Southern Barbecue, Southern Craft Barbecue. Really good, like extreme high-level barbecue stuff. There were a bunch of fans in there. Jason Logan, there was a fan they were hanging out, and Jason was signing autographs. It was amazing. Amazing. A lot of fun. And Johnson City, super cool. So then Sunday night, wanted to hit Kingsport to do the Tri-Cities trifecta, just so I could tell you all about it. Because what good is hitting 2 out of 3? You got to hit all 3. Tri-Cities, trifecta. Did it. Went to a place, Chop House, in Kingsport. Excellent. Really great steak. I enjoyed myself a lot, and it was reasonable. Wasn't terrible, which was good. So I had a great time. Father's Day weekend. Did not get to spend time with my dad, but he was connected on the phone and the social and watching on NHRA.TV, which brings me back to the original point. You can choose to be a complainer and a whiner and always talk about the negative, or you can choose to do like Mike Salinas and surround yourself with positivity. I wasn't physically with my dad, but he was watching his favorite sport and his kid do his best at what he does all day long. Why was that possible? It was possible because NHRA made an investment in this deal several years ago, and they are continuing to invest to make it as good as possible. There are people out there trying to crap all over that. Got to push back a little bit every now and again. This is one of those times. Anyway, that's going to do it. I'm going to be in Norwalk. Oh, Norwalk. Difference in schedule. The final My Time subject. I knew I'd get back to it. So the Sportsman car is not going to be there. Stock, super comp, super gas. Top. Yeah, bummer. Don't like it. And honestly, this is going to be a battle to get it all in. But we're going up there to battle to try to get it all in. And we're going to create a slightly different show. It's going to be slightly different. There's going to be more time. We're going to focus on the pros. We're going to have the alcohol cars there. Factory Stock Showdown is going to be there. It's going to be a little different. And I hope you guys all come out. Because regardless of what happens, there's going to be fun to be had at an NHRA event. Whether it be walking the pits and meeting the drivers and meeting the crew and hanging up and making connections with people that you probably would never have connected with if they were flat out working like a normal event. There's lots of good stuff that can happen in rain delay at an NHRA event. And maybe it won't rain. Think of how many events were going to be totally washed out. They said Topeka was going to be washed out. They said all these things, and you just don't know. You got to go. I'm going. Hope to see you there. Any other final thoughts? Nah. That's it. Big thanks to our sponsors, obviously, Hank Staffer's Metalworking Lubricants, HusseyPerformance.net, RoadAxeCoffeeandGrills.com, Frank Hawley, Samtech.edu, MagicDryUS.com. You can hear my voice is a little, Yeah. Doing better than I have in the past, though. Doing better than I have in the past. If you want more, the Norwalk pre-race edition of Factory Stock Podcast is available. WFO radio listeners, hopefully you are subscribed to that. And hopefully you subscribe to this. Maybe you're a new first-time listener and you want to hear somebody rant about how the world is going crazy and how people... I try so hard, folks, to be positive, to be the positive... the guy calls me Winnie the Pooh. But every once in a while, I need a place for my negative energy. And when I see people being just big jerks... It's their opinion, right? It's their right to be a big jerk. But when you do it in a public forum, I don't know. I don't like it. especially if the facts are not on your side and you're making up stuff. That's really the gist of it. It's like, guy was like, well, when I pay good money, I expect things to be perfect. Well, that's wonderful, but I think that's unrealistic. You are from another planet. Because there are lots of times I've gone to Disney where things are perfect, and I have to wait in a long line to experience my perfection. And there are times I'll be getting about to be on Space Mountain, and all the ride is closed. And Mickey Mouse looks at me and says, sorry. And I say, huh. And I pay good money, and it's disappointing, but I just still at the happiest place on earth. And the people that can't understand that every once in a while things are going to go perfect, even though you paid money, it's not what life is, and it's sad. And by the way, everybody's saying that NHRA.TV has gotten way, way better, like vastly improved over the past 8 weeks. And that's what everybody that I am talking to that watches every single week, my father especially, who watches on Roku, and Steve, who does our artwork, watches on Roku. You reset it every once in a while. You're on the same stream for 8 hours. Of course, you got to reset it every once in a while. It's the net. And to you, the WFO listener, you thought it was over, and then I was saying goodbye, and then I got sucked right back into the angry rant. I was in talk radio for many, many years. There were times we had to do a rant every other segment just to get through it. I can come up with some stuff when I need. Just I have chosen to always try to be positive. And I feel like this is positive, right? We're going to positively push back against the negative as we continue on in this great season that is 2019 with our great racers in the National Hot Rod Association. The Ignition Show, not probably going to happen this week. Got to rest that voice. Get ready. Friday, qualifying, Mellow Yellow Series, Norwalk. Are you coming? I'll be there. Hope to see you there. WFO, thanks to Alan Reinhart, Mike Salinas, Bob Tasca, John Schaffer, Eric Lane, Mark Caruso. Glad you're okay, Mark. Appreciate it. We'll see you soon. WFO, everybody.
WFO! The views and opinions of the hosts, guests, or callers do not necessarily reflect that of the station ownership, advertisers, or agencies.
I love WFO radio.
Oh, yeah.